We're bad. We bad. And since, let me go. Come on in, T-Sippers. Come on in. Let me go get some honey for this throat. Y'all had me all. Lord, Lord, Lord. They just, Lord. Come on in, T-Sippers. We gonna get it started. And I'm gonna try not to be here long. Come on in. Oh my goodness. Hey, T-Sippers. Come on, come on. Let's get our prayer going. How we doing tonight? Hey, Cynthia, Crystal. Let's get on in here. We missed the prayer. I had to go get some honey, y'all, because I don't work my little old throat to the, ooh, I don't know how that sound. I preached earlier, so if y'all missed the live before, please go back and check it out on TV. Preached the sermon. I think I got some love. If you're in here and or watch the replay, I wanted to make sure I gave thanks to the love I received. I received the love offering. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, so we gonna say a prayer. While it's still Thursday since I missed it earlier, then we gonna smoothly drive on into what's going on today. Okay, is that all right? Is that all right? Y'all hit the like button coming in. I would greatly appreciate it. I want to give a shout out to is it Danny Loves? She was in Eve's on her platform today where I was over there cutting up, and she gave Auntie Fee some props. She checked me out, and she showed appreciation. So I wanted to give a shout out to Danny Loves. Okay, let's go. Let's do our prayer, and of course, Max and Chanel. Yeah, and I'm gonna also give out a Sherry Berry. Sherry Berry is mature and seasoned. I think today is her birthday, and where she wanted to cut up a little bit with Auntie Fee, you know. So we interacted and had some fun today on Eve's channel platform. So shout out to those ladies. I greatly appreciate it. We had a good time today. It was really fun. Now you took my voice, but other than that, I really appreciated the time with the ladies. So let's go. Let's get some prayer. Y'all hear that in the background? Let me cut the thunder and lighten it off. Yeah, I don't want him to pray over the thunder and the lightning, but that's how I sleep, y'all. That's that vibe that Auntie Fee really appreciate. You know, you sleep well like that, whether you know it or not. Let's go, sir. Hey, Marie.
I pray for this person's Thursday. God, I pray that you would break every chain. Break every chain of fear, every chain of anxiety, every chain of... Dear God, I pray for this person's Thursday. God, I pray that you would break every chain. Every chain of fear, every chain of anxiety, every chain of addiction, every chain of shame, every chain of depression, every chain of insecurity and bitterness and discouragement, and every chain that keeps them from the freedom you have created for them. God, your word says in John chapter 8, verse 36, that he who the Son sets free is free indeed. And so today, God, I declare freedom over their mind, freedom over their heart, freedom over their home, freedom over their future in Jesus' name. Father, I pray that no burden would be too heavy for them today, because you said in Matthew 11:28, come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Give them rest today, God. Rest from overthinking. Rest from carrying things they were never meant to carry. Rest from worrying about tomorrow. Lord, remind them that you are already ahead of them before they even fully woke up on this Thursday. You already are making the crooked path straight. Isaiah 45 verse 2 says, I will go before you and I will level the mountains. Go before them today, God. Go before them at work. Go before them in their family. Go before them in every conversation. Go before them in every decision they have to make today. I pray that this Thursday would not be ruled by stress or fear or exhaustion, but by your peace. Your word says in Philippians 4 verse 7 that your peace surpasses all understanding. Let that peace guard their heart and their mind today. And even if everything around them feels uncertain, let there still be a calmness in their spirit, because they know that you are with them. Father, strengthen them today. Isaiah 40:31 says, but those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. Renew their strength right now. Strength for those who were tired. Strength for those who were carrying silent pain. Those who feel overwhelmed. For those who feel like giving up. Remind them they are not fighting their battles alone. Exodus 14:14 says the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Fight for them today, God. Fight for their peace. Fight for their family. Fight for their purpose. Fight against every attack of the enemy. And God, if this person has been secretly praying for a breakthrough, I pray that this Thursday would be a reminder that you still hear every prayer. Even the prayers they cried in silence, even the prayers they never told anybody about. Your word says in Jeremiah 33 verse 3, call to me and I will answer you and I will tell you great and unsearchable things you do not know. I thank you for all that you have done, all you are doing, and all that you will do in their lives. And I pray all these things in the mighty and wonderful name of Jesus. Amen. Have a blessed Thursday.
Woo! Take it into Friday until we come again tomorrow during the day. But let this prayer, an awesome prayer, lead you through the night and then your morning, okay? Let's go. Y'all ready to go? Y'all ready to rock and roll? Well, not literally, but you know what I mean, right? Let me cut the beat off in the bag. I like this guitar, y'all. 24/7 live jazz guitar. Let me show y'all why I won't. I want y'all to see the setting. There go that T. There go that T. Y'all see that T? The setting has that T. Get into it, baby. Get into it. The T and the jazz guitar. Candlelight. Get into it. Is that all right? Auntie feel mess, baby. Hold on, let's go. Okay, so what I got first? Besides, do I want to start with Corey? Dark Past, Hannity. Let's start with Trump's boy. I think MAGA kind of disappointed, y'all. I ain't even gonna lie. What they say, I ain't gonna even hold you. I ain't gonna even hold you. I think his boys and his girls and everything in between may be a little pissed at Trump. Because I don't know. Let's check it out.
All right, we continue more with President Trump. We held this interview right after his all-important meeting with President Xi as we continue from Beijing, China.
Hold on.
Some headlines.
His big daddy. Trump got a spanking today. And I think everybody across the world saw it. Now, after he got spanked today, Big Daddy told him to go get a switch off the tree. Not only the tree, say the tree, not the tree, not the tree, the tree. He told him to go, told him to go get the switch off the rubber tree. Yeah, that don't break. It's super hydrated or something, baby, because it will bend to whatever angle. Where is my Lord? Cut the light on, child. However he beam don't break. Y'all know about them rubber tree switches. They normally green. Boy, girl, I'm telling you, you be like the rubber tree. Grandma, Granty, or whatever. Lord, y'all, hold on. I can't find. I just had my little other stand. It's up. But anyway, she, he, him, Kim, whatever his name is, he gave him a treatment, baby. and told him he better not. He better not. So this interview right here with this mega cat, I can't. Did I take it in? He must have got after this conversation. This interview is after that. Well, let's just listen until I find my thing.
Out of this summit, America, I'm sure, watched the reception. And I'll do a side-by-side of the reception of then President Obama.
He doesn't respect Obama. Nobody
Yeah, how he don't respect
How
Obama?
overrated
You know why he's
is that?
saying that? Because some of them foreign leaders, especially in Iran, didn't want to talk to nobody except Obama. This man is so damn delusional. He got humbled. Even if you listen to his tone right now, you can still tell that if Jing Shing, whatever his name is, didn't tell him you need to be more like Obama. Yeah, you need to learn from him. Yeah, because you come over here with this rude and disrespectful divide and conquer type stuff until you destroy the whole thing. The whole, that's right here. Yeah, everything that when I was down with this New World Order, your attitude, your demeanor, your whatever you call this, trying to intimidate somebody, yeah, you making everything fall apart. It's your fault. So now he gonna flip the script and put it on Obama. Of course, because he's the most respected. Yeah, you need to be like Obama. Yeah, so now you want to switch it up because you got a whooping. You got a spanking today. You got a spanking. You got a spanking. Yeah, you got your ass whooped today. You took a beating. Look at you. Look at you. Hey, Blenda. He got his ass. He got a spanking. See, he got today with his mom and daddy. Now, I ain't saying that they didn't beat him down. I don't know. But he felt that today. Yeah, he felt that good old country ass beat today. So now you want to find somebody to blame, and he brings up Obama. Oh, no, he don't respect him. You a lie. You a lie. That's why you mad at black people right now, because of Obama. Yeah, you are out of your league. There's been a lot of that going on. Folk trying to speak on people, and you out of your league. It's like, who do you think you are? You would never measure up. You were never supposed to be in office. So stop lying and playing with yourself. Open your eyes. Your butt still hurt. That butt whooping still hurt. You still feel it. It's tingling. I don't know why. This thing is going in and out. It's like it's crying. Yeah, you got my laptop crying for you. Why you moving? Because your butt still hurt. It's red as your face. Let's go with your lying ass. Let's go. Y'all please come in hitting the like button. Let's go. Open. Oh, I'm on it. Oh, I'm on it. But why you going in and out? Blinking. Yeah, like you got a turning signal on. What is that all about? Huh? Yeah, your ass still hurt. Let's go.
America, I'm sure, watched the reception. And I'll do a side-by-side of the reception of then President Obama.
He
and
doesn't
now
respect Obama. Nobody does.
Did he tell you that? What did the body language say? Yeah, now you speak for anybody that gives. So now your Hannity, your partner, your homeboy, throwing it in your face that you cannot compare. Yeah, you couldn't even talk. You couldn't even say nothing. It started with a T. What the hell you talking about? You still blinking. Look. You still got that. And Big Daddy say, shut up. What you crying for? Shut up. Before I give you something else to cry for. That's how. That's what you're doing. That's why I can't stop moving. Let's go, though.
Overrated, and he's a divider.
He's overrated, and he's a divider. Can y'all hear him? Switching it around. Now, Obama is the divider. And the biggest complaint everybody has, say what Obama didn't do, was because he did it for unity. So how in the hell can you say he's a divider when he included people who were never included? He made way for everybody equally. The darker shade of brown was disappointed in him because he didn't do what appeared more for the darker shade of brown. But he had to be equal. Now this orange-faced fool gonna talk about he's a divider. You're a liar. You're a liar. That's why that man, Hing Ching, Sheen Sean, whatever his name is, spanked that ass, embarrassed you globally, made you look like a piece of shit. Hello, open your eyes. Yeah, your lying ass. You're gonna get another spanking for lying. I reckon you probably gonna get another treatment before your ass leave. So stop lying. That's why, oh boy, your other partner got a ticket today. Because China ain't playing with y'all. There's no respect of person. You don't get off easy. You gonna get some straightening up in here. Up in here. Y'all hit the like button. Let's go.
America, I'm sure, watched
Absolutely.
the reception. And I'll do a side-by-side of the reception of then President Obama.
He
and now
doesn't respect Obama. Nobody does. Highly overrated, and he's a divider. Biden will go down as the worst president in history because I think what he did on the border.
So y'all see how humble he sound? Oh, although he lying, the worst numbers are his. But you see his whole tone is different. Y'all hear his tone? Although he lying, his tone, he got humbled today. Now he gonna probably come back to the U.S. talking that shit if he make it. As if he make it. But right now his tone is so. This is a tone from a diaper done that we ain't never heard, never. Now I don't know why this thing is blinking. I have no idea, but we gonna keep moving forward.
How do you explain your relationship with President Xi? Because it seems as cordial as it can be. He doesn't seem like the warmest guy in the world on the outside.
He is. He's warm. I mean, look, he's smart. He's a very smart person. But we have a good relationship. No, he has to respect somebody. He's no games. He's not like, let's talk about.
He no games. Did he say he no games? He checked you. He checked. He ain't fall for none of your banana in the tailpipe. He didn't fall for the hands and the margin of your hands. You know how you when you lying and you manipulating and you are selling the pyramid and the full scope of things. You know, he ain't fall for none of that. He ain't playing with you. He done gave you warnings, and the way he shook his hand and wouldn't let your hand go, like, come here, boy. Come here, yeah, no. Get. And then you turned your head to the left like, what the fuck is going on? And you gonna pat his hand like, let my hand go. And he said no. Oh, yeah. I think everybody, Donald Self, I think he, unlike himself. I know he don't like himself, because if he did, he wouldn't have that overly orange shit on his face. Y'all gonna make me run a sermon again. Huh? My 3 siblings, them. Why your oh, they voted for this clown? This lie? Yeah, he's a liar. The truth ain't in him. Let's go.
He's a very smart person.
He see
But
through
we have
you.
a good relationship. No,
There
has to
is
respect
none.
somebody. He's no games. He's not like, let's talk about.
Did he say you gotta respect somebody? Is that what? The way you was all up in King Charles's ass, I thought that you couldn't get no deeper. So did you? I maybe put the caption on. Did he say you gotta respect somebody? What? What? I didn't think you knew what respect was. You know, somebody tried to tell me that they always respect their elders, but did some disrespectful stuff. Sometimes people don't recognize that what they think is respectful ain't respectful to the person that they trying to act like they being respectful to. Your respect ain't my respect. You ain't got no damn respect for yourself. How you gonna respect? Some of these people don't know what respect is because they don't respect themselves. And your level of respect would never, and I do mean never, reach mine. So sometimes you got to come down to their level in order for them to understand what respect is. That's what happened to Trump. He got chin checked in China. But carry on with your lying ass. Carry on. Delusional. Just delusional. Let's go.
Relationship. No, he has to respect somebody.
Got
There's
it.
no games. He's not like, let's talk about how did the Yankees do last night? Okay, who cares? They don't care.
They don't care.
All about China. It's
But their
it's a
economy's
consummate
hurting.
thing.
Their economy's
I don't
hurting.
know. I've been hearing that about them for 40 years that their economy's hurting.
Now take in mind, he wanted the U.S. to be so against don't shop in China, don't do business in China. Although he was getting his ties and his daughter was getting their stuff for retail from China. He pitched to us about no more China, don't buy from China, da 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 da. Now I can't do it, but don't you? So now he understands that they not playing with you. Foolishness. None of your games, tricks, manipulation. They've been watching you. Yeah, you allowed yourself to be manipulated into a war, and you think you finna come over here and manipulate me? Silly rabbit, you're getting demoted. And you better be glad I don't take your position altogether, because I can end you. And Bibi Netanyahu. Or leave you to have to deal with that devil that you made bets and bets and deals with. Yeah. Yanked him. Yanked the rug from up under him. Humbled him. Shot all that shit down. Did you read the memo before you came? I laid it out. This is what you can do, what you cannot do, what offer is on the table, what is not. And if you don't like it, don't even come. Don't come over here thinking that you're going to change my mind. Don't come over here thinking that you're going to strong arm somebody. Don't come over here thinking that your opinion even matters. Because it don't. They done snatched your stripes from you. Diaper done. And it's time for you to change your pants. Woo! I hate to say it, but I love it. I love it. You disrespectful, ungrateful sons of itches. You and your son. You and the treasurer. You and Rubio. You ungrateful, disrespectful, greedy sons of itches. Yeah. All capital letters.
Be, doesn't seem like the warmest guy in the world on the outside.
He is. He's warm. I mean, look, he's smart. He's a very smart person. But we have a good relationship. No, he has to respect somebody. He's no games. He's not like, let's talk about how did the Yankees do last night? Okay, you know, who cares? They don't care. He's all about China. It's, you know,
But their economy
it's a consummate thing.
Their economy.
You ain't never lie,
I've been
Illis.
hearing that about them for
He got chin
40
check.
years that their economy's hurting. I've been hearing about it. I'm always hearing about it. Look, we want to open it up. It's massive. And we want to get all of those companies and many more in there.
It's massive.
Make a lot of money and a lot of jobs. 40 years that their economy's hurting. I've been hearing about it. I'm always hearing about it. Look, we want to open it up. It's massive.
Now, how's the economy hurting? And y'all up here oohing and awing and how beautiful it is. And I saw a girl, I pinned it for us on my other IG where she going to the mall. And it was just, I'm like, damn, the food, the cost of everything damn near is organic. None of the poison or anything in their food. None of that. You can damn near lose your life. Although we saw that robotic stuff, you can't use robotics now to eliminate humans, jobs. Yeah, China. I mean, you say hurting. The mall was like, ooh, very futuristic. You know, it was beautiful. So how they hurting? We hurting. Because you've been giving all our money to Bibi Netanyahu and the rebuilding of God's land. To put up your brothels and shit. Your hotel brothels. Yeah. With some of those undocumented ass kids and shit that y'all gonna put to work. Allegedly. Yeah. Now, tell me again, your sons are not a part of the cabinet. Why are they there? Did they pay for their own flight? Huh? Why we pay for them to be over there with you? What they there for? They not even, they were supposed to negotiate some Trump Tower deals for you on the cool. You wanted to bring them in up under the pyramid with some, side deals about some of that oil, Venezuela oil, you know what I'm saying? Huh? And they said, no, we don't want none of that. We don't want none of that. That's not on the agenda. I sent you, and I told you if you were not coming for these reasons, under these terms, don't come. You wasting my time. With your bitch ass. Oh, yeah. Let the chips fall where they may. With you. I love it. Let's go. Pie.
China. It's
But their
it's a
economy's
consummate
hurting.
thing.
Their economy's
I don't
hurting.
know. I've been hearing that about them for 40 years that their economy's hurting. I've been hearing about it. I'm always hearing about it. Look, we want to open it up. It's massive. And we want to get all of those companies and many more in there and make a lot of money and a lot of jobs for America. That's all. It's very simple.
So why are you talking to China about that and not Iran? Oh, Iran only wants to talk to Obama. And I guess you heard through the grapevine that they done some switcheroo, something, and China may be in control of the Hormuz. Oh, you don't want. Oh, we not supposed to know. Oh, I forgot. We not supposed to know. You don't want nobody to know that you've been demoted. And what you was trying to promote and strong arm and bogart, yeah, got innocent people unalived. Unalived. For your foolishness and your greed. You about to make me preach on you, boy. Yeah. Unalive. And you have no care, no regards. Before you left, you said you don't care nothing about the U.S. financial economics. You don't give a shit about us. You went over there and got spanked by a switch, one of those green switches that just like rubber and don't break. However you get popped is however you get popped. Yeah. It feel like one of them. Yeah, that's why your ass is wobbling, because you got marks on your butt, because you got your butt spanked. Let's go.
Yeah, so our deficit's way down from what it used to be, way down with China. And this could end any deficit with China. China's been very good. China treated our presidents with great disrespect. You know, like
China.
we have a lot of presidents, and I was a Reagan fan and am. I liked him. I thought he was great style and everything, but he was not good on trade. We lost the car industry to Japan and Germany and others. People have liabilities and whatever.
What you think we got now?
That were really, really bad. They allowed our country to be just absolutely decimated.
You always blaming somebody else. We are hurting.
What happened with Biden? When you look at what happened, the way everybody treated him, there was zero respect. Obama too. The Iran nuclear deal, it was the worst deal, one of the worst deals ever made. If I didn't go in and terminate that deal, Iran would have a nuclear weapon, and they would have used it.
They had the same thing they had with Obama and Biden. You probably have made them prepare. Yeah, you made them prepare and get ready for war. You did that. They were honoring Obama. You just want they natural resources. Yeah. Because you don't want them to be able to retaliate against you in Israel when y'all pull a stunt. So you're not pro-America. So you right now, you are Israel first. So I can speak on what y'all plotting to do. Because you and your booty buddy BB, want to leave us a third world country. So you don't want them to be able to retaliate with their natural resources when y'all pull that stunt. And you pulling the stunt because of the Epstein files. Your hands are tied. Now you're cornered. Now you like, what was that cartoon? Which way do you go? Which way do I go? You don't know which way to go. You run around in circles. You don't know what to do. Because word on the street, really? Bibi Netanyahu gone. He got a look-alike. He got a clone. He in a dungeon somewhere. I don't know if some of the enemies caught his ass when I don't know. But word on the street is you are not really in communication with BB. Whoever is in place, he not seeing eye to eye with your ass either. Because whatever deal you made with Bibi Netanyahu, he ain't honoring none of that. None of that. That's in my opinion. He like, what? Yeah, this ain't a state. This is just a piece of somebody else's land, but it's being destroyed. And you want me to do what? No, I thought we was at war. It's not really. It's really an act, but it's trying to. Yeah, and you want somebody to try to piece together that bull crap that you and B Netanyahu done put together. What? Y'all not trying to rebuild? Wait, what? Y'all trying to steal the land and do what? So this ain't legit. Yeah, that's what's going on right now. That's why your ass is lost in the sauce. And you don't even know what flavor the sauce is. Yeah, that's what's going on. Let's go.
You wouldn't even maybe sitting here right now.
Can I ask you this, though?
But John, they would have used it. The Iran nuclear.
I agree with you.
Then if I didn't go in with the B-2 bombers 9 months ago, they would have had a nuclear weapon. And by the way, the one thing...
Well, after you went in, why haven't they created one? They said it don't take but, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. So you talking about the bomb you sent in June is the reason why they have a that ain't stopping them from making one if they want to make one? Are you crazy? Oh yeah. Oh my bad. Yeah. I forgot. You are. Yeah. You believe your own hype. Baby.
But Sean, they would have used it. The Iranian
I
nuclear.
agree with you.
Then if I didn't go in with the B-2 bombers 9 months ago, they would have had a nuclear weapon. And by the way, the one thing they told me, because I deal with the Iranian leaders now a little bit, they said,
You deal with the people that you bombed? Y'all believe this, Glad? I had to lay my head down, y'all. So you telling me that you are communicating with the people that you bombed? That won't let you go through the strait? That's blowing up our people? You're in communication with them people. Is that what you're telling us, Donald? Donna. Is that what you're telling us? Now this is, did y'all hear with y'all good ear? Did y'all hear him about to say that he is in communication with the people who are bombing our military men? Get the fuck out of here.
nuclear weapon. And by the way, the one thing they told me, because I deal with the Iranian leaders now a little bit, they said very strongly, they said, because they said, we're getting the nuclear dust. That was a term I made up because it's sort of, it's a simpler term for people to understand. It's nuclear dust, sort of dusty. But I said, we get the nuclear dust. They said, you will get it. They agreed to it, right? They agreed to it. But then they take it back, then they agree, it's back and forth. I don't know. I think they have a lot of problems with the leadership. But Sean, they said, we get the nuclear dust. They said, there's only 2 countries that can get it. Who? You and China. Nobody else has the technology. I said, why do you say? He said, because when you hit that thing, the whole mountain collapsed on it. I said, so you're saying we really hit it good, didn't we? He said, there's no way that any normal country can. The only 2 countries that can go down and get that are you and China. It's very interesting because CNN was saying, well, maybe it wasn't hit that badly. It was hit. And what they did is they
You're
took a lot
lying.
of credit away from those great B-2 pilots and the Tomahawk submarines. And, we had the submarine shooting Tomahawks in there, 30 Tomahawks. We obliterated it. And before the pilots even go back, I remember CNN saying, well, maybe it wasn't hit that badly. Maybe it wasn't. They didn't even know anything, and they were saying that.
Sir, if you hit it and you blew it out the part, how are they still bombing now? And if you took it out, then why are you still scared? Huh? If what you said in June was the truth, then what you're saying now is a lie.
The top person said to me, there's 2 countries that can get that. We can't get it even if we wanted to because we don't have the technology or the equipment. They said us and China. It's very interesting.
Wipe us out quick. He ain't worried about them, though. Well, he wasn't.
90% enriched.
He wasn't. He is now.
And they were bragging to your Middle East envoy, Steve Witkoff.
If I didn't go in with the B-2 bombers that week, that day, that week,
Man, quit
they
lying.
would right now have a nuclear bomb.
So it was that imminent?
Well, I thought so.
The intelligence told you
I
so?
thought that they
No.
were very close to having a nuclear weapon.
Did the intelligence tell you that? Did the intelligence tell you that? No. Bibi Netanyahu did. Don't make me sit up on you, man. I'm finna sit up on you. Yeah. The intelligence tell you that. You bypass Congress. You bypass everybody that would have the correct intel to go along with Bibi Netanyahu. Why? Because he is giving you money and he gonna expose you with the Epstein files. Let's be clear. Stop lying.
So was that imminent?
Well, I thought so.
The intelligence told you
I
so.
thought that they were very close to having a nuclear weapon.
Told you
I
so.
thought that
Look how he looking at him. He know your. He know he lying.
Intelligence told you
I
so.
thought that they were very close to having. They would right now have a nuclear bomb.
So was that imminent?
Well, I thought so.
The intelligence told you
I
so.
thought that they were very close to
Did he
having a
answer,
nuclear
y'all?
weapon, and it all emanated from those 3 sites that we hit, and we hit them good. We hit them.
But you said you
And
obliterated
he told me
them.
that, and he wasn't saying that as a negotiation. He just said we can't get it. We'll never be able to get
Absolutely,
it.
me. Hey,
So now,
Sally.
you know, you got to move like the weight of a mountain. And it was a granite mountain. Those
Did-
bombs went right down.
did
airships.
intelligence
I guarantee
tell you
they'll never
that,
build
though?
An airshoot again.
This is the bunker.
Think of it, at 1 o'clock in the morning with no moon, we dropped bombs. Every one of those bombs went down an airshoot and exploded. And the whole mountain collapsed on top of that site.
Okay, so
And
you.
the Iranian leaders told me that they would be, and everybody else, other than, literally he said us in China, and I don't know that China can do it. I know we can do it, but it's a big project. To get it, it's a big project.
Do you feel there's been people?
He
that
didn't
have-
answer, y'all.
Generals that I've spoken to that think you have to get the dust, which is the enriched uranium, or have you been told there may be a way to entomb it that they could never get to it?
So we were thinking about doing it early on, and
About
it
getting
would take a while. It would take a week and a half. That's a long time
Wow.
to be in enemy territory. No, you got to move these massive amounts of granite. You know, it's a granite. Granite's the hardest stone. It's amazing that it's you know what. Those were really powerful bombs that we used. And don't forget, we hit it on top of that. We hit tomahawks on top of that. No, I don't think it's necessary, except from a public relations standpoint. I think it's important for the fake news that we get it. I'm the one that said we're going to get it, and we're going to get it.
You
we
said
have
that
our
you
eye
was
on
gonna get it in 2 days. You said it was gonna be one. It was gonna be as easy as Venezuela, one and done. Huh? You didn't know that they have been sitting up watching y'all every move. They made a deal with Obama, signed, ain't had a problem. Why didn't you go for it when you was in office before? When did it become important? When did it become a threat? Huh? Why didn't you do it your first term? Oh, you were supposed to do it your second. Okay. Yeah, your last 4 years when you were supposed to be reelected. Yeah, that was the game plan. Okay. And Bibi Netanyahu, while you came in saying, no, I really don't want, we're fighting wars, we don't know these countries don't even, like, you can't even pronounce them. Yeah, what happened to that? Bibi Netanyahu. Okay, now where he at? Why he ain't with you? Why your road dog ain't with you? Huh? Why you only one got a butt whooping? They wouldn't even let your treasury and your sons or nobody in there get your ass over there and go through the proper chain of command, or your ass ain't getting up in here. Well, I'm the treasurer. Sounding like a damn seal. I said, I don't care who you are. You better get. It was a whole scuffle. You gonna force yourself in there? You know where you are? Chris Tucker, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Huh? If you don't get over there, yeah, turn to the left, go down the hall, yeah, and then turn right. And go through the proper steps to get your ass over here. Don't make me put hands on you. Treasurer. Yeah. Your still sounding ass on. Let's go.
So Space Force was my creation. I did that in my first term. It's going to end up going down as one of the most important
Man,
of all of our
killed me.
military.
So
First
it
time
can
since the Air
be
Force.
entombed.
Yeah, It can be.
with eyes on it.
It can be, but I'd rather get it, to be honest with you. It can be, a lot of things can happen, but, and even despite the statement that, you know, they can't get it, they are, first of all, if we left right now, it would take Iran 25 years to rebuild, and it can never be like it was. It would take 25 years. I'd rather get it, but we have our eyes on it. You know, we know exactly what's happening there. We had, the other day, there was a man that tried to get into the chute. You know, we saw there was a door that was blown to smithereens. And we know everything that's happening. If they ever moved on, and I told them that, if they send a force over there to try where I see somebody's trying, all we'll do is just hit it with a couple of bombs, and that's going to be the end of that. They won't do it. I said, we have 9 cameras on that side.
Willie, you know I ain't got no sense.
24 hours a day. We know exactly what's happening. Nobody's even gotten close to it. They looked at it at the beginning, and they said, there's no way that anybody can ever get down to the nuclear dust.
You think it's...
But I thought you said you did. So why you there? So you lied. I mean, I thought we knew you did. I mean, your stories are contradicting one another. You don't even remember your own lies. Yeah, you lied. And the truth is not in you. It never is. But you better get your life right with Christ. You better get your life right with Christ before it's too late. What's that church song? Come unto Jesus while you still have time. Come unto Jesus. Make up your mind. He will make your life brand new. Yeah, don't make me go there with you, boy.
And I told them,
okay.
if they send a force over there to try where I see somebody's trying, all we'll do is just hit it with a couple of bombs, and that's going to be the end of that. They won't do it. I said, we have 9 cameras on that site, on those 3 sites, 24 hours a day.
You're
We know
right.
exactly what's happening. Nobody's even gotten close to it. They looked at it at the beginning, and they said,
You're right.
there's no way that anybody can ever get down to the nuclear dust.
You think it's...
But I'd still rather have it. I'd rather get it. I just feel better if I got it, actually. But I think it's more for public
You
relations.
scared because whatever you and Bibi Netanyahu got planned, you afraid that it's going to rip you apart because you don't care shit about us. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Let's be 100. Yeah, I got to talk ghetto and gank with you. Let's just be 100. You don't give a shit about the United States of America. You are absolutely the worst in my lifetime. So you're afraid because of what you and Bibi Netanyahu and what Saudi and whoever else you was partnered with this new world order. That everything that with that enrichment would blow y'all to pieces and destroy everything that y'all have planned to build with your new world order. And now they know that you are not a strong leader. Those who you thought was going to take heed and jump in and want to join and see the bigger picture, saying hell no. Hell to the no, no, no. Hell to the no, no, no. Hey, Naturally New Orleans.
4 hours a day. We know exactly what's happening. Nobody's even gotten close to it. They looked at it at the beginning, and they said, there's no way that anybody can ever get down to the nuclear dust.
You think it's...
But I'd still rather have it. I'd rather get it. I just feel better if I got it.
Look how disappointed he looking at him.
I think it's more...
Look how disappointed. And you know, this his boy. This his boy. Hannity, that's his boy. You look disappointed. Yeah, because you know that you failed and all hope is gone. You better call on Jesus. You better call on Jesus. Yeah, you better call on Jesus. All your earthly hope is gone. You look depleted. You know your ass been demoted. And you almost out the job. Because you know when you get home, yeah, they are really getting close to you being the first president of the United States to take your ass to jail and sleep in a cell. You know it. You don't want us to know it, but you know it. Y'all, here it come. You know it. You know it. Yeah, your days, of being a free man is numbered. You better wake up and tell somebody. Yeah, you know it. You just don't want us to know it. That's why Auntie Fee go the route that she goes to make sure that we get solid information. The facts will set you free. Y'all gonna make me preach today, baby. Come on, let's go.
But I'd still rather have it. I'd rather get
Look
it.
at this disappointment.
I just feel better if I got it, actually. But I think it's more for
He know he
public
lying.
relations than it is for anything else. The other thing we could do is
Public relation. We're at war. You want to do a draft with our babies and shit? Are you crazy? Oh yeah, I forgot he is. I'm sorry. Let's go. I forgot.
I just feel better if
it's
I got
just
it,
the look.
actually. But I think it's more for public relations than it is for anything else. The other thing we could do is bomb it again, just make it absolute. But
you just said they told you it's so deep down you can't get it. You're not gonna be able to reach it. So why would you still be trying to bomb? Huh? For public relation? You a lie. You's a bald-faced lie with your bald-headed ass. You a lie. Move that hair over. Move it over. Yeah, you ain't got nothing right there. That's sprayed, dyed, and laid to the side. You got the flip. Yeah, quit lying. You just a liar. That's why your ass is depleted. You just stick a fork in me. Just let all that air out. Yeah, absolutely. Your lying ass. Let's go.
I would feel better getting it. So
For PR.
Let me go back to a question that
Look at it.
has come up before. For
Disappointed.
You,
He
and I
know
wanna get
he
into
been
more
lied
detail
to.
because we are in Beijing. The issue of
Do he look positive? Do he look confident? Because you know he one of the ones that be going ham for Trump. He correct. He comb over. Yeah. This Hannity, he go hard for the lie. Look at him. He just like, man, this ain't what you been, man, every time we try to thank you on top of some, DT, and we try to be with you, DT, are you with me? Oh, yeah, no, man, you let us down. Now, we knew we was going to fool everybody else, but now you trying to fool us, too. I told you, fool, long time ago. He done made a deal on top of a deal on top of a deal. He got deals all the way around the table. He got a deal with y'all. He got a deal with them. He got a deal with Russia. He got a deal. Yeah, he got deals all over the place. There's no possible way he can fulfill them. That's why he files bankruptcy. He creates a bid now east that fails. That fails. Only thing he good at is trying to put people in his cabinet or his business deals that's way 10 times smarter than his dumb beep. Yeah, to make it seem like he's smart, but he ain't. Yeah, and then somehow or another, they always fall into bankruptcy. Oh, but you're going to get the goods while the getting is good. Ain't that what? Yeah, you're going to get it while the getting is good. Get it out on TV. Yeah. That's what them people was thinking. Them fake people that was doing business with creating these fake PPP loans. That's what they thought too. They was going to be in for getting the good while it was good. And now they finna be hit with jail. Let's go.
Chinese students.
We're going to party in the street.
Universities. More importantly, in my mind, is...
But I would feel better getting it, and we will get it.
Let me go back to a question that has come up before for you, and I want to get into more detail because we are in Beijing. The issue of Chinese students in our universities. More importantly, in my mind, is that Chinese nationals have been buying up thousands and thousands of acres of farmland, ranch land, and land near military installations. Now, I would assume I'm in Beijing. If I wanted to buy property near one of their military installations, I don't think President
No,
Xi...
they wouldn't let you. I don't, look, it's not that I love it.
Hell
You want
no.
to see farm prices drop? You want to see farmers lose a lot of money? Just take that out of the market. But they've had a lot of land for a long time. Obama did nothing about it. They bought a lot of it
What
during
about
the Obama
Biden?
administration. He did nothing about it.
Why you
As
gotta
far
bring
as
up
the students,
Obama?
It's 500,000 students they come, good students.
He asking about you, sir, in China.
Had a lot of land for a long time. Obama did nothing about it.
Was the question about
land near
Obama?
military installations. Now, I would assume I'm in Beijing. If I wanted to buy property near one of their military installations, I don't think President
No,
Xi...
they wouldn't let you. I don't, look, it's not that I love it. You want to see farm prices drop? You want to see farmers lose a lot of money? Just take that out
Didn't
of
you give the money, 40 billion, to Bibi Netanyahu cousin on his daddy's side? $40 billion to get out of debt? That you had our farmers thinking that you were going to help them? Where that switch at? Where that you? Huh? Oh, the man in Beijing still got that switch. Well, he need to spank your ass for lying. You still deceitful. Yeah.
I don't think President
No,
Xi...
they wouldn't let you. I don't, look, it's not that I love it. You want to see farm prices drop? You want to see farmers lose a lot of money? Just take that out of the market. But they've had a lot of land for a long time. Obama did nothing about it. They bought a lot of it during the Obama administration. He did.
And this man
nothing
Hannity need
about
to
it.
say, man,
As
stop.
far as the
I'm talking about
students,
you.
It's 500,000 students they come, good students. I could tell them, I don't want any students. It's a very insulting thing to say to a country. They would
You
then
right,
immediately
me.
go out and start building universities all over China. But if you don't have those students, good students, by the way, if you don't, and we do another thing, if they're good and they want to stay in America, we won't give them a green card and things like that. And that, not only them, but other countries. But if you want to see a university system die, take 500,000 people out of it. And the ones that won't
You're
be
not
there are
making
the top
sense.
schools. The top schools will do fine, but your lower schools, the ones that don't do quite as well, those schools, they'll be dying all over the place. I frankly think that it's good that people come from other countries and they learn our culture, and many of them want to stay here.
You're deporting them. Some who came in the right way. Because you wanted to use them for free slavery. And brothels. And you thought China was going to be the back that you was going to yeah, what? You was going to hop on their back and they was going to carry your ass. And he said, no, you've been demoted. You should not be coming to me for help. You should not be coming to me lying about wanting peace. Everything you have done and said has been a lie. So you're not man enough for this job. You don't know what you're doing. You're the devil, and you're trying to take all us to hell with you. The answer is no. God said yes. You're not going to have your way. God said yes to demoting you. Get your ass out the way. Even though you lying, you still sound humble. You're not arrogant in China. Yeah, you can't be loud and all of this, that, and the other. Yeah, they forbid all that lying. That's why your ass is lying in this room, in the penthouse, some goddamn word. You ain't lying in front of that man. I bet you that.
I think it's good. Not everybody agrees with me, and it doesn't sound like a very conservative position. And I'm as conservative. I'm a conservative guy.
You a
I'm a
liar.
very common sense guy, I think, more than a conservative guy. I think MAGA is common sense. You know, people understand we want strong borders, we want strong military, we want good education, we want low interest rates. We want. But
I think people would argue they worry about, do they have nefarious
sure,
intentions?
I know, and we worry about that. And honestly, you know, they do things to us, and we do things to them. It's
You started it.
It's a very, very fine line, the whole thing with students. So they have 500,000 students. And our university system does great. You know, it does great. You want to screw it up, take 500,000 students out. And you're gonna see bankruptcies at the lower end of good colleges, but they're not known or whatever. You're gonna have a lot of problems. So it's something I'm always looking at. But it's a very insulting thing to tell a country, we don't want your people in our...
But you rather insult us in the U.S. Oh, I forgot you not scared of us. They promoted you. China had to demote you. Yeah. Woo-wee, baby. This money, this U.S. money was very well spent so far. Do y'all agree? I ain't never seen diaper done it. It look like he done got spanked enough. I changed my own diaper. Shit, I don't want nobody touching me back there. It's not fair giving a guy a shot down there. Woo, phone needs to cool off, baby. Let me pull this fan over here. Yeah, I know this phone do because it's hot. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. Come on, talk, boy.
Schools. I mean, it really is. Now, I'll have people say, oh, that's a terrible thing, you know. It is a very insulting thing. And it's very interesting. It's something that didn't come up today. Came up last time. But I will tell you that school systems don't want that to happen because you won't have much of a school system.
All right, Mr. President, when they look through the history books, this summit, what will people be saying 10 years from now?
Well, I think it's a very historic summit. It's the two countries. I call it the G2. It's the G2. They have G7. They had the G8. This is the G2. And I think it'll go down as a very important moment in history. And maybe more than anything else, a great moment of respect.
Mr. President,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate your time.
Thank you
very much. Thank you. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with Me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.
What y'all think about that?
I hate that I can't keep this a secret. I canceled all my food delivery subscriptions and upgraded.
What y'all think about that? Yeah, but not the black and brown. Man, it's twisted. Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Dang it. American entered this too confident. Now they paying the price. Dang. Let me go here.
So today, I want to talk about something that most people are completely missing about America's position in the world right now. Everyone is watching the press conferences. Everyone is watching the trade negotiations and the tariff announcements and the military posturing. Everyone is watching the signals and calling it strength, but almost nobody is stepping back far enough to ask the question that actually matters most to ordinary people on both sides of this. What happens when the most powerful nation on earth walks into a confrontation it genuinely expected to win quickly, and then discovers that the world it thought it understood no longer behaves the way it did the last time America was this confident? Because here's what I want to walk you through today. America did not enter this moment without reason. It entered it with the accumulated memory of 30 years of uncontested dominance, 30 years in which American pressure almost always produced results, in which adversaries almost always
Oh, my bad. I'm just now hour and 10 minutes in and y'all ain't hitting the like button. Do I need to end this joint? Or do y'all need to get the likes up? What we doing? At 1 o'clock in the morning. What we doing? This too much for y'all. Y'all can't handle this truth. And beef trade with Argentina. Yeah. Oh, y'all not gonna get the likes up? Let me check something right quick. Do I need to make y'all leave? Do I need to make y'all get up out of here? Get the like button. Hit the 3 dots at the top right corner. I shouldn't have to tell y'all where the like button is. We do this every day. What we doing? What are we doing? And because we prayed now, I don't want to talk to you ignorant. So do what you know you need to do. Hit the like button. Double tap the face of your phone. Hit those 3 dots at the top. You know how to get to the like button on everybody else. Get to the like button here. Or I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to tell you that now. And all the other good stuff I got, you just won't get it. I'm going to take my magnesium glycinate and lay it on down. I got my little eye bag things right here that's going to put off the steam. Yeah. And I put back on my little old music and I'm going to crash on out, baby. Wake up bright and early. Brand new. You understand? Get the likes up. I'm not playing. The next time I have to go out like that and come back in, I ain't coming back. I'm going to tell you that now. The very next time I have to go out and come back in, I'm not coming back. If I got to kick y'all out to get y'all to hit the like button, I don't want to entertain you. You understand? I'm not going to play them games. I don't want to play no more. It's too late. Get the likes up. If you come in, hit the like button. God got all his children. He's the beginning. He is the beginning and the end. He is Alpha and Omega. Now y'all making me mad. Now I'm dropping stuff. Double tap the face of your phone and get the likes up. I don't want to play no more. Do you understand? I don't want to play no more. It's too late. I done preached the sermon already today. Huh? Clean them out, auntie. Oh, okay. Okay. I've been told. I'm going to shut it down. Let's go.
Down, in which the combination of financial leverage, military reach, and technological superiority was sufficient to dictate terms. That memory is not wrong. It is just outdated. Walk you through today. America did not enter this moment without reason. It entered it with the accumulated memory of 30 years of uncontested dominance, 30 years in which American pressure almost always produced results, in which adversaries almost always backed down, in which the combination of financial leverage, military reach, and technological superiority was sufficient to dictate terms. That memory is not wrong. It is just outdated. And outdated confidence in international relations does not produce strength. It produces miscalculation.
For a little savings, Specialist Miller buys in bulk. For a lot of savings.
So today, I want to walk you through every major actor in this drama. China, Russia, Europe, America's own allies, and the emerging economies quietly reshaping the rules, and show you exactly where American confidence collided with a world that had been quietly preparing for precisely this moment. I will show you who is paying the price, who is gaining from the misjudgment, and what it means for the people living inside these systems. So let us begin. The first thing you need to understand, the foundation of everything else I am going to tell you today, is this. American overconfidence in this moment is not arrogance in the casual sense. It is structural. It was built over 3 decades of a specific kind of success, and it hardened into institutional assumptions that shaped how American strategists, American economists, and American policymakers read every situation they walked into. The assumptions were reasonable when they were formed. After the Soviet collapse in 1991, America found itself in a position no nation had ever occupied in the modern era. The sole superpower with no peer competitor, no credible military challenge, and an economic model that the rest of the world appeared to be adopting. The question for a generation of American strategists was not whether American primacy would endure. It was how to manage the responsibilities that came with it. The question is no longer whether that unipolar moment has passed. It passed. The question is how deeply those 3 decades of structural confidence are embedded in American decision-making, and whether the people making decisions today can recalibrate fast enough to avoid the compounding costs of acting as if the world still works the way it did in 1998. The framework I want to use today is what I call the confidence gap. The distance between what America expected each major actor to do when pressure was applied and what those actors actually did. In every case, the gap is revealing. Let me run through each of them. On the surface, China looked, from the American strategic perspective, like an economy too deeply integrated into the global trading system to risk a serious confrontation. The assumption was that China's export dependence, roughly 20% of GDP tied to goods exports with the United States as its single largest bilateral market, gave America decisive economic leverage. Apply tariff pressure, threaten market access, and Beijing would adjust its behavior rather than risk the economic disruption. But underneath that assumption was a misreading that took years to become fully visible. China had spent the decade between 2012 and 2022 quietly and systematically reducing its vulnerability to exactly the pressure America would eventually apply. It diversified its export destinations, deepened its domestic consumer market, accelerated its self-sufficiency in key technology sectors, and built the Belt and Road Infrastructure Network as an alternative economic architecture that did not depend on Western institutional access. The numbers tell the story clearly. According to reporting from the Peterson Institute for International Economics, China's share of exports going to the United States fell from approximately 19% in 2018, the year the first major tariff rounds began, to roughly 14% by 2023. China did not replace that lost volume dollar for dollar, but it replaced enough of it and fast enough to demonstrate that the leverage America assumed it held was smaller than the model suggested. And here is the part that should stop you cold. China's response to American pressure was not just economic absorption. It was strategic counter-positioning. Every round of American technology export controls accelerated Chinese domestic investment in the exact sectors being restricted. Huawei's release of the Mate 60 Pro smartphone, powered by a 7-nanometer chip produced domestically at SMIC, a chip that American export controls were specifically designed to prevent China from making, was not just a product launch. It was a public demonstration that the confidence gap was real. For ordinary Chinese citizens, this confrontation has carried real costs. Slowed growth, youth unemployment, a property market crisis that wiped out household savings. But the political messaging inside China has framed those costs as the price of resistance rather than the failure of policy. That framing is holding. Now let us look at the actor whose response revealed a different dimension of the same miscalculation. On the surface, the sanctions regime assembled against Russia following the invasion of Ukraine in February 2022 was the most comprehensive in modern history. Over 11,000 individual sanctions measures coordinated across the United States, European Union, United Kingdom, and G7 partners targeting Russian banks, oligarchs, energy exports, technology imports, and the central bank's foreign reserves. The expectation, stated explicitly by senior Western officials, was that the Russian economy would contract severely and rapidly enough to change the political calculus in Moscow. That expectation was not fulfilled, and the reason it was not fulfilled reveals something important about the confidence gap. The sanctions were designed for an era when Western institutions controlled the primary arteries of global finance and trade. They assumed that cutting a country off from the SWIFT payment system, from dollar and euro clearing, and from Western capital markets would leave it without alternatives. What the architects of the sanctions regime underestimated was the degree to which a parallel financial and trade infrastructure built over years by China, India, the Gulf states, and others had matured enough to absorb the redirected flows. According to data from the International Energy Agency and cross-referenced reporting from Bloomberg, Russia redirected the majority of its oil and gas exports from Europe to Asia within roughly 18 months of the sanctions coming into force. India became one of the world's largest purchasers of discounted Russian crude. China absorbed Russian pipeline gas and coal at volumes that partially offset the European market closure. Russian GDP contracted by approximately 2.1% in 2022, according to the IMF, a serious but far smaller contraction than the 10 to 15% decline that some Western analysts had projected. For ordinary Russians, the economic pain is real and cumulative. Inflation, consumer goods shortages, restricted technology access, and a demographic cost from military losses that will take decades to absorb. But the political system has not fractured under that pressure. The confidence that it would fracture, but that economic pain at sufficient scale would produce political change. Was the central assumption behind the sanction strategy. That assumption has not been validated. Now let us turn to the actor whose response to American pressure was perhaps the most surprising.
Hit the like button, y'all,
because it came from inside the alliance. On the surface, Europe responded to the post-2022 security environment exactly as American strategists hoped. NATO commitments were reaffirmed. Defense spending began rising toward the 2% of GDP target, and European nations provided substantial financial and military support to Ukraine.
If you're taking vitamin D3 or D3K2 right now,
what was
you are
that?
unwillingly
Was that Tourette's or
participating in the
something?
supplement industry's.
The alliance held, but underneath that surface solidarity, something more complicated was developing. European governments and European publics were absorbing costs that the original confidence in a short, decisive Western response had not accounted for. Energy prices rose to levels that made European industrial production uncompetitive. Inflation hit households across the and the war did not end on the timeline that early optimism had implied. As months turned to years, the political sustainability of the cost began to erode. And then came a development that accelerated a question European leaders had been quietly asking for years. Could Europe continue to base its security entirely on an American guarantee whose terms were now explicitly subject to domestic American political conditions? The debate inside Washington over Ukraine aid funding, the explicit statements from senior American political figures about the conditionality of NATO commitments, and the broader American pivot toward prioritizing the Indo-Pacific over the European theater. Of it added up to a message that European capitals could not ignore. The response has been the most significant European strategic reassessment since the Cold War. Germany announced a 100 billion euro special fund for defense investment. France has accelerated its long-standing argument for European strategic autonomy. The EU has launched its own defense industrial initiative, explicitly designed to reduce dependence on American defense procurement. According to reporting from the European Council on Nations, a growing majority of EU member state governments now describe strategic autonomy as a core policy objective, a phrase that a decade ago was largely confined to French diplomatic vocabulary. For ordinary Europeans, this reassessment is arriving as a defense spending debate they did not expect to be having, on top of an energy cost crisis they were not prepared for. The political consequences are reshaping European politics in ways that are not yet fully legible. What is clear is that America's most important alliance system is asking more openly than at any point since 1945 whether the terms of the relationship are still what they were assumed to be. On the surface, America's Asian alliance architecture looks intact. Japan has doubled its defense budget. South Korea has deepened security cooperation with both the United States and, tentatively, Japan. The Quad framework, bringing together America, India, Australia, and Japan, has been elevated from a diplomatic talking shop to a serious strategic forum. But underneath that surface alignment, every one of America's Asian partners is hedging. And the hedging is not discrete. Japan maintains and is expanding its economic relationship with China, its largest trading partner, even as it deepens its security relationship with America. South Korea, under every government, regardless of political orientation, continues to treat the Chinese market as a core economic interest that cannot be sacrificed on the altar of strategic alignment. Australia, the most committed of America's non-Japanese Asian partners, has recently moved to stabilize its own economic relationship with China after years of severe bilateral friction produced costs that Australian exporters, farmers, and commodity producers absorb directly. India is the most instructive case. America has invested heavily in positioning India as the central partner of its Indo-Pacific strategy, the democratic counterweight to China, the alternative manufacturing destination, the anchor of a free and open regional order. India has accepted the engagement enthusiastically, participated in the Quad, deepened defense procurement relationships with American suppliers, and positioned itself as a willing partner in every multilateral forum Washington cares about. And simultaneously, India has purchased Russian oil at discount prices, abstained on key UN resolutions related to the Ukraine war, maintained its own nuclear doctrine outside any American framework, and explicitly rejected any formulation of the bilateral relationship that includes an alliance obligation. India is practicing what its foreign policy establishment calls strategic autonomy with complete transparency. It is not hiding the hedge. It is declaring it. For ordinary people across Asia, this hedging posture by their governments is a practical reflection of a simple reality. Their economic lives depend on trade relationships with China that no security partnership with America can replace. The confidence gap in this context is between America's expectation that strategic alignment would follow from security investment and the reality that economic gravity continues to pull even the closest partners toward accommodation with the region's largest economy. On the surface, the global South appeared, from Washington's perspective, like a collection of nations that would inevitably align with the rules-based international order once the alternative, China and Russia's vision of a managed multipolarity, became clear. But that expectation missed something fundamental about how the governments and publics of emerging economies read the past 30 years of American primacy. What America frames as the rules-based international order, much of the world experienced as an order in which the rules were written by the powerful and enforced selectively. The financial architecture of the IMF and World Bank, the trade framework of the WTO, the security decisions of the UN Security Council, all of these institutions delivered real benefits. They also consistently delivered outcomes that served the interests of the established powers more reliably than the interests of the nations that were nominally equal members of the system.
I thought it was Tourette's.
Weaponization of the dollar clearing system through sanctions, the exclusion of Russian banks from SWIFT, the freezing of Russian central bank reserves held in Western financial institutions was read across the global South not primarily as a response to Russian aggression, but as a demonstration that the dollar system was a tool that the United States would use for geopolitical coercion against any country that sufficiently crossed it. According to analysis from the Atlantic Council, central banks across the global South accelerated their gold purchases and their exploration of alternative payment mechanisms in the 2 years following Russia's exclusion from SWIFT. Not because they sympathized with Russia, but because they noted the precedent. Brazil, South Africa, India, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Indonesia, virtually every major emerging economy has either joined BRICS, expressed interest in alternative payment systems, or both. This is not anti-Americanism. It is insurance. And the fact that this insurance seeking is happening openly, without apology, is itself a measure of how far the confidence in American primacy as an automatic guarantee has fallen in the global middle. For ordinary people across the emerging world, the question is not which superpower they prefer. It is whether the system that governs their access to global finance, trade, and technology will remain stable enough to let them build the lives they are trying to build. The answer to that question as they see it is no longer certain. And uncertainty about the system produces exactly the diversification behavior that America is now reading, with some frustration as disloyalty. So now let us zoom out.
Lights up, please.
Got stuck in the branch that it was growing on, and then it also...
And look at the biggest picture of all. Sure, because what every one of these stories has in common, the Chinese strategic preparation, the Russian sanctions absorption, the European questioning of alliance terms, the Asian hedging, the global South insurance seeking, is a single underlying dynamic. America entered this period of intensifying competition with a set of tools, financial sanctions, technology export controls, tariff pressure, alliance management, that had been developed and proven in a world where American institutional dominance was so complete that no meaningful alternative architecture existed. Cutting someone off from SWIFT worked when SWIFT was the only game in town. Export controls on semiconductors worked when American-aligned firms produced the only chips that mattered. Tariff pressure worked when access to the American consumer market had no substitute. And here is the crucial insight that most people are completely missing. These tools still work. They are still powerful. American financial leverage, technological primacy, and market access remain the most significant instruments of statecraft available to any single government on earth. The confidence gap is not about whether these tools have power. It is about the assumption that they have the same power relative to the alternatives that they had 20 years ago. And they do not. Every actor in the international system has spent the past decade studying American pressure campaigns and building partial insulation against them. The insulation is not complete. It is not even close to complete in most cases, but it is real enough that the expected outcomes, rapid capitulation, forced policy change, alliance cohesion under pressure, are no longer reliably produced. And when the outcomes you expected do not materialize, the costs of the strategy accumulate without the compensating gains. That is the price America is paying, not the price of weakness. The price of confidence calibrated to a world that has moved. You might expect me to say that America's overconfidence is a fatal strategic error, that the confidence gap is the beginning of terminal decline, that the United States is repeating the arc of every overextended empire in history. But actually, no. And here is why the story is more complicated than that conclusion. The price that overconfidence is extracting from America right now is real, but it is a recalibration cost, not a collapse cost. There is a fundamental difference between a nation whose tools are less effective than it assumed and a nation whose underlying position is fatally compromised. America's underlying position remains extraordinary. The world's largest consumer market, the center of the most advanced technology ecosystem on Earth, the holder of the global reserve currency, and the anchor of the most capable military alliance in history. What is ending is not American power, not American. What is ending is the specific form of American power that required no reciprocity, no coalition management, and no acknowledgement of other actors' legitimate interests. That form of power was always a product of a particular historical moment, the brief unipolar window between 1991 and approximately 2008. That window closed. The overconfidence was the failure to fully accept that it had. The nations that are paying the highest price in this transition are not the ones with the most to lose from American recalibration. They are the ones that built their entire security and economic model on the assumption that American guarantees were unconditional and permanent. Because when the conditions become visible and the permanence becomes negotiable, the nations with no plan B discover that an alliance is not the same thing as independence. The real lesson of this moment is not that America failed. It is that every nation that outsourced its strategic thinking to American confidence is now discovering the cost of that outsourcing. And the nations that maintained their own strategic autonomy, that built their own leverage, that kept their own options open, the ones navigating this transition with the most room to maneuver. That is not a lesson about American decline. It is a lesson about what genuine sovereignty requires. China spent the decade before the confrontation reducing its vulnerability to the pressure America was building. And when that pressure arrived, it absorbed it well enough to demonstrate that the leverage America assumed it held was smaller than the models suggested. Russia absorbed the most comprehensive sanctions regime in history because a parallel financial and trade architecture had matured enough to absorb the redirected flows. And because the confidence that economic pain would produce political change was not validated. Europe, America's most important alliance system, is asking more openly than at any point since 1945 whether the terms of the relationship are still what they were assumed to be, and is investing in strategic autonomy as a hedge against the answer. America's Asian partners are hedging in plain sight, participating in every security framework while preserving every economic relationship, because their population's livelihoods depend on trade gravity that no security architecture can override. The Global South is purchasing insurance against dollar system risk, not out of sympathy for America's adversaries, but because the weaponization of financial infrastructure demonstrated a precedent they could not afford to ignore. And the grand thesis: America entered this period of competition with tools calibrated to a world that no longer exists in quite the same form. The confidence gap between expected outcomes and actual ones, it's all our, but it is a recalibration cost, not a collapse. What is ending is the unipolar form of American power. What remains is still formidable. The question is whether the recalibration happens fast enough and honestly enough to preserve what matters most.
I'm really trying to improve my flexibility this year, so I asked ChatGPT to help me come up with a few structures.
Okay. Okay, let me see what I had lined up. I may have to hop in. Y'all, please get the likes up while I switch over to something else. Double tap the face of your phone and hit the three dots at the top right corner. Excuse me. Witness pressure. Oh. Let's go here to
Donald Trump cover up anything? Donald Trump's dark past is surfacing while he is in China. Finally, the House of Representative Oversight Committee, which is a cover-up committee, has released the transcript of Howard Lutnick's interview. It was supposed to be a deposition under oath on video, but Donald Trump, MAGA Mike Johnson, and James Comer worked with Howard Lutnick, Donald Trump's Commerce Secretary, to demand and ensure, because Republicans control the House Oversight Committee, that this would not be a video deposition. No video, no deposition. It would be a voluntary interview. It would not be under oath. And the transcription was just released after what? A week or 2 weeks, and they were hoping for the news to fade, then release the transcript, a very dense transcript, and they were going to hope nobody was going to talk about it, but we're going to talk about it. I'm going to go through the transcript with you like we do here on the Midas Touch Network, and we should go through page by page what was being said by Howard Lutnick. I think one of the most important things, though, to know about this voluntary interview, in addition to it not being under oath, in addition to it not being on video, which violates like every other norm, every other interview which were under oath depositions in House oversight work ever, and now because it involves Epstein and Donald Trump, they're not under oath and they're not video depositions. Howard Lutnick was not permitted to answer any questions about his communications with Donald Trump. There was an assertion of something called executive privilege. So anytime there was a question, what did Donald Trump tell you about his relationship with Epstein? Did you and Donald Trump cover up anything? Did Donald Trump tell you to change your story? Did you and Donald Trump talk about this about the island? Did you and Donald Trump talk about this person, that person, these girls? Objection, we're not going to answer. Executive privilege, we're not going to discuss any communications with Donald Trump. And given that Howard Lutnick has changed his story over and over again from that podcast that he gave with New York Post Miranda Devine, where Lutnick said that he would never see Epstein ever again after one 2005 encounter when he went to Epstein's townhouse. Epstein was his. There was Lutnick's townhouse, there was Epstein's townhouse. And Lutnick said there was one occasion, Epstein knocked on my door, he invited me in, I went up, he showed me a massage table, I was there with my wife, I said, what's that for? He goes, I'm into massages, and Lutnick said, oh, I'm so grossed out by you. I never was in a room with him ever again, never for business, never for philanthropy, never for anything. I would never be with this guy ever again. He disgusts me, I knew what he was doing, I knew he was a bad guy, I knew he was the ultimate blackmailer, I knew what he was doing with the girls, so I would never be
and you
around
went to
him.
the island with
The
your
Epstein
wife and
files
kids
came
and
out,
them
and
nanny.
Lutnick was in the files. There's photos of him with his children on the island. And so Lutnick was asked these types of questions, and Lutnick said, I never lied. What are you talking about? When I was on the podcast, I said that I would never meet with Epstein again. I never met with Epstein again. And then the people questioning Lutnick said, what do you mean you never met with him? You're on the island. Yeah, I was on the island, but that wasn't me on the island. What do you mean it wasn't you on the island? That was me and my wife and children and other families. And I brought kiddies with me. I brought children with me. So I would never put myself in a position to be with Epstein, but I brought my children and my friends' children, and they were on. So we were there. So what I said on the podcast was accurate, to which the people questioning Lutnick are like, what are you even talking about? And then Lutnick claimed that he didn't know that Epstein was the owner of his home, right? So there was two townhouses right next to each other. They both used to be owned by Lex Wexner, the billionaire shady guy who used to own Victoria's Secret, who was the kind of benefactor for Jeffrey Epstein. And then Epstein, based on records, was owning Lutnick's house and then owned the other unit, which Wexner, with Les Wexner previously owned. And then the questioning to Howard Lutnick was like, do you realize that you were living in Epstein's home? No, I don't recall. You don't recall? What do you mean you don't recall? Do you know you're living in his house? No, I don't know that. Okay, well, you said you weren't involved in any business relationship, philanthropy, or personal. Are you aware that your personal investments in a company called AdFin, which does like internet ads, it was like a company that you invested in, that you and Epstein were both investors in this company, and your signature on the investment was next to Epstein's signature on the
Oh
investment,
Lord,
and
I didn't know
Epstein had
that.
them in his files, like you and Epstein invested together in this company called AdFin, and your signatures are right around each other, and
Busted.
Epstein had them. And then Lutnick's repeated line throughout this deposition was it's inexplicable. It's disturbing and inexplicable. I don't know. I don't know. So how'd you get to the island? I don't know. It's disturbing and inexplicable. How did he send you an email? It's disturbing and inexplicable. And I didn't get the email. I just said to Howard Lutnick, but it actually goes to my assistant who uses the Howard Lutnick email. Well, did you speak with Ghislaine Maxwell? Have you met her? Yeah. What did you talk to her about? I don't know. Inconsequential. Meaningless and inconsequential. What did you talk to Epstein about on the island with the kids? I don't know. Meaningless and inconsequential. What did you talk about with Epstein when you were in his apartment, when you were hanging out? I don't know. Meaningless and inconsequential. And did you talk at all other times? Maybe once. What did you talk about? I don't know. Meaningless and inconsequential. So we have the transcript. Can I share with you just some, I think, key portions of this transcript right here, just so you can see for yourself? And this is coming out while Donald Trump is in China. By the way, did you see Xi Jinping sent out like all those little kids to be around Donald Trump with? In light of this, I thought Xi Jinping may have been trolling Donald Trump there, given the Epstein files. So here are some of the
And
questioning
he
of
loved it.
Lutnick. I'm just going to go through this
He
page.
missed
This
the
is page
joke.
92,
He
and I'm
missed
going to
the
start at the
troll. He
beginning.
loved
Bear
it.
with me here, because I want you to see what Lutnick's actually saying. Question. I'm going to ask a few questions. We're getting to the end here. I'm going to ask a few questions about Trump. Some versions of them you have been asked. Others you have not. Just firstly, how long have you known President Trump? Answer, more than 30 years. How did you originally
Oh,
meet?
that
I don't
booty buddy.
remember. Did you ever have a conversation with Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell about Trump? Answer, no. At any time when Trump was a private citizen, were you present for a conversation about Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell,
I don't
where
know.
Trump was then Donald Trump was also present? In other words, were you ever in his company where Epstein or Maxwell were discussed? Answer, no. At any time when President Trump was president, did you have a conversation with him about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell? And then a lawyer steps in on behalf of Donald Trump, on behalf of the Republicans, and says, as we talk, on behalf of Lutnick, as we talked about before, we're not going to answer questions under executive privilege. We're here to answer your questions. We're not going to violate executive privilege. And then the questioner goes, and that was a clarification for me whether it was just not wanting to answer or whether it was an executive privilege assertion. Then another lawyer for Lutnick and Trump and the DOJ and the MAGAs go, there's a process for you to go through if you'd like to seek that information, and I'm happy to talk with you afterwards if that's something you want to pursue. Then the lawyer goes, yeah. Just the question here is whether it's on an executive privilege, but I understand that the question is not being answered. I got that. But I'm just asking whether it's an executive privilege basis or just choosing not to answer the question. And then the lawyer for Lutnick says, I have not gone through the formal process to do that. Let me rephrase the objection. I think it's been asked and answered. In other words, on a very basic question, at any time when President Trump was president, did you have a conversation with him about Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell? Immediate objection right there. You see for yourself. That's a cover-up. I don't know how else to describe what's going on. Donald Trump in China selling out the United States. Xi Jinping is talking about Donald Trump, you better give me Taiwan, all of these things. And then now we have the transcript knowing the cover-up is in full swing. Democratic Congressmember Walkinshaw posted the following. The transcript of Howard Lutnick's interview is out. Here he tries to explain that he found Epstein so gross that he wouldn't be in a room with him, but he was okay to take his wife and family to lunch on Epstein Island. Bottom line, Lutnick lied.
Here's a true story
Big
about a
time.
grocery store that's making healthy and sustainable living the new normal. Nick's mom, this is Nick by the way, struggled to
And I want you to watch this also because Lutnick here also refuses to discuss his communications with Donald Trump. So Congressmember Walkinshaw says, okay, I'm struggling sitting here listening to you try to describe and define I, and I, as a man, I'm trying to figure out what exactly you're saying. I think if the American
Cause
people
y'all was
saw it
doing
on
some
video, they would be struggling
A
as well. But you
with
said on the
a G in
podcast,
front
my
activity,
wife and
and
I decided
you don't
that
want to
I
come
will
across
never
as,
be in the room with that
fruity,
disgusting person ever again.
tutti fresh
You
and fruity.
said married people will understand that. So your position, Howard, is you were so turned off by him. He was so gross. Something weird sexually going on in his house
Fresh and
that
fruity.
you as a man, Howard Lutnick, did
As
not
a
want to
man.
be in a room with him alone. But you were okay with your wife and family being in a room with him? I'm struggling to understand that. I'm a
Tutti
man
frutti,
too,
fresh
with a
and
wife and a
fruity.
child. If I felt someone was so gross, more than me not wanting to be in a room with him, I would not want my wife
Absolutely
and my
not. And
children
your
to
kids.
be in a room with him. But you're very definitive that it's you, Howard Lutnick, that couldn't be in a room with him. Then Lutnick says, I had an informal conversation with my wife, and that's what we discussed. And I would think that most people
She
who are
was
married
scared
would
that you was gonna
understand.
give up the
They have a
booty.
conversation with their wife that someone says something
Tutti
inappropriate,
frutti.
gross. That when you leave with your wife, she says, you should avoid that guy. He's gross, right? And I did. So
That
I
he was
don't
flirting
think
with
that's
you.
like, I think that's kind of inconsequential, which means just avoid him, which I did. So I don't understand, actually. I would think people who are married would understand that conversation with their wife when they met someone who was inappropriate to say you should avoid him, and I did. And then Congressmember Walkinshaw says, respectfully, Mr. Secretary, I think most people who are married would say we should never be in a room with him again. But have you had any conversation with anyone in the White House, setting aside the president, because you're refusing to discuss conversations with the president? Any conversation with anyone who works in the White House about today's interview? No. Okay, thank you. We can go off the record. In other words, he's not responding to any question about his conversations with Donald Trump. Then Secretary Lutnick says in another part of this deposition, I asked him, Epstein, why he had a massage table in the middle of his house. This is my best recollection. It's not like precisely what he said. This is a general recollection of something that's 21 years ago. So I said, how often do you have a massage? And he said, my best recollection, he said, every day, and the right kind of massage. And he said it to me, and my wife is standing next to me. And we looked at each other and we left. Question, for the record, what did you interpret Epstein to mean when he said the right kind of massage? Answer, that it would become in some form of sexual in nature. And that's what I assumed it meant. So as you go through this transcribed interview, it talks about how in 1997, I, Howard Lutnick, purchased an unfinished townhouse as my family home in New York City. Renovations took several years due to September 11th. Approximately 8 years after our purchase in 2005, we moved into the new home. That's when he talks about Epstein knocking on the door. He goes into Epstein's home, and then he says that there's this interaction where Epstein talks about the massages, and I never saw him again. Then Lutnick talks about that there was a 2011 incident where he talked over the phone with Epstein about scaffolding, he says. And then he says 18 months later, his staff, this is how Lutnick describes it. In 2012, his staff inexplicably contacted my office, unprompted, regarding my family's planned holiday travels to the Caribbean. Unbeknownst to me, his staff somehow had become aware that my family and I would be near his island over the holidays, although they were apparently unsure whether that meant during Thanksgiving or Christmas holidays. I still have no idea how his staff discovered my family's vacation plans or why they pursued arranging a visit with me. And then Lutnick describes it as it's inexplicable and it's disturbing. He goes, my family of 6 and another family, we had a brief, meaningless, and inconsequential lunch on the island, and then we left, he says. And then he goes on to talk about, this incident. Let me show you another point that just raises all sorts of red flags. Question. So on the podcast, you said, after seeing the massage table in Mr. Epstein's house and the 6-8 steps it took for you and your wife to get back to your house, you decided, and I'm quoting, I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. Is that an accurate characterization of the statements you made on the podcast? Answer. This is an informal, incomplete discussion that my wife and I had as we walked back. The point of which was that when I discussed it with my wife, I, Howard Lutnick, would not have a personal, professional relationship with this person because he obviously doesn't have boundaries, so just avoid him. I should avoid him, and that's what we discussed. It's not verbatim what we said because this is 21 years ago, and it is what I did. I avoided him.
Okay, cargo leggings, but flared. Immediately, yes. I need more. These are from the brand Yorio. I do have some cargo leggings. I've talked about them before, but I do not have any that are flared. I did size down to an extra small because I read that they are very stretchy. They're very form-fitting, but not uncomfortable because they're so stretchy, and the material is really nice.
Oh, those kind of cute. I like them. Yeah, I need for y'all to get the likes up. Double tap. The kind Donnie wife had given Jeffrey several times. I swore fist and eating.
It's soft, it's smooth. I'm definitely someone who loves leggings.
How did you avoid him? You went to the island. What are you talking about that you avoided him? And then he's asked the question over here. I want to briefly talk about statements that you made related to, and I'm going to your statement that Epstein had an MO to give massages to influential individuals, that he used it as blackmail. For the record, was that based on your firsthand knowledge or not based on your firsthand knowledge? And then Lutnick goes, I was just speculating for a podcast. I had no personal information. I was just speculating for a podcast. So for the record, did Jeffrey Epstein ever inform or represent to you that he was a part of any intelligence service, including for the United States? Answer, no. So how would you characterize your relationship with Epstein? I had no professional relationship with him. I had 2 interactions in person that were meaningless and inconsequential. I would say I had no relationship with him. And then what about your conversations with Ghislaine Maxwell? Page 20. Meaningless and inconsequential. Then it goes on to talk about here. And you discuss the invite in your opening statement, but I'm going to ask you, how did your visit to Little St. James, Epstein Island come about? Who coordinated it? And this is the answer. What I still cannot understand is this November 20th, or how or why, without any communication for years, would inexplicably know where I'm going. How would he inexplicably know where I'm going? It's unsettling, actually. But this is how it happened, you know? I don't know why it happened, but you're actually literally seeing how it happened. But it's inexplicable that he would, and his staff would know where I was going to be. I had no interaction with him. So to be clear, this is a question, you did not reach out yourself to tell Mr. Epstein that you were going to be in the U.S. Virgin Islands over Christmas, is that right? Answer, yes. And answer, yes, I did not in any way contact him or have any connection with him. Question, and it would be safe to say that the invite surprised you? I find it unsettling and inexplicable. And that's the same line he uses when he's questioned about AdFin solutions. Question. And what about Adfin Solutions?
To
Answer.
expose itself.
There was a company that attempted to create an exchange for online ads. They went out of business. Were you personally an investor in Adfins? No. Was Cantor Fitzgerald your company? Answer, yes. And then the question says, well, the signatory page from the investment to Adfin Solutions, you said you had not seen that? Is it common for another investor in a VC deal, a venture capital deal, to have the signatory page from another investor? How did Epstein, in other words, get your signature page? Lutnick's response, no. I found it inexplicable and unsettling that it was released, that my signature, my company's signature page would be in someone else's files. It's unsettling. I have no clue how it got there. I find it inexplicable and unsettling. And then there was the question about those masks that looked like Lutnick's face in Epstein's Island in that kind of dentist area.
Oh yeah.
And then someone said, and then he was asked about
he
the
tagged
face,
your ass.
and what you think about that, and was that your face? And then Lutnick is like, no. The question, the reason we introduced that photo of that face is that many people speculate that that mask resembles you, specifically the one on the first page in the middle. What's your response to the claims that that's you? Answer, you've got to be kidding. This is the most ridiculous and absurd thing I've ever heard. What, a bald man? I have hair. Look, I mean, I don't have many, but at least I have some. This is not remotely me. That's nonsense. And that's where he was. Going. And then the questioning also pointed out that I want to note for the record, this is a transcribed interview. It's not being videotaped because the majority, the Republicans, decided that the American people don't deserve to watch this testimony, when all the other interviews were depositions under oath. So there you have it, folks. I can keep going on, but I think you get the point. That gives you a summary. I'm quoting directly what Lutnick is saying. While Donald Trump is out there, and while Lutnick is covering up for Trump, refusing to talk about their communications, asserting executive privilege in the Epstein files. And I'll leave you with this thought. If they're asserting executive privilege in this informal interview, think about the millions of documents that may likely be withheld under executive privilege claims. We don't have a privilege log, so we don't even know what they are. Just think about that. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. And thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the Midas Touch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
What you think they done had a booty affair before?
Updates every single day.
A whole booty affair.
If you bought Earth Breeze because of me,
it's a booty. Hey Jerry.
See, there's something I probably should have told you.
It's a booty that had already gone up on top of. Oh no, that's not what
If you're searching YouTube for how to make money on the internet and you're tired of struggling, here's what your parents...
They had a whole booty affair. And his wife didn't want him alone with him. Mm-hmm.
The most
Come on.
Trump's post. We're going to have to mix Donald Trump's federal criminal cases with his state criminal case about
in trouble, y'all.
Cases once the Georgia indictment drops. And when we do that,
once the what?
Emerge of Donald Trump.
Glenn, hold up. Once the what? What drop? He got another one? Another one bites the dust. Boom, boom, boom. Another one bites the dust. Another, y'all get the likes up. Don't make me get on y'all, cause me said she want all the tea tonight. You want all the tea tonight. Thank you so very much. Thank you very much. Hit the like button, y'all. Don't make me. Me ain't playing with y'all. Ooh. Another indictment. Did y'all hear me say hit the like button? Double tap the face of your phone if that's how you ear hustling. Yeah, ear stealing.
We're going to have to mix Donald Trump's federal criminal cases with his state criminal case, about to be cases, once the Georgia indictment drops. And when we do that, the picture is going to emerge of Donald Trump walking ever closer to the inside of a jail cell, to having a judge order him into pre-trial detention. So we're going to connect some dots, and we're going to see the picture that emerges. But let's start with the new reporting. This from Axios. Headline, Trump tells Georgia witness not to testify. That article begins, former President Trump on Monday appeared to warn former Georgia Lieutenant Governor Jeff Duncan against testifying before the Fulton County grand jury in the state's 2020 election probe. And here is part of Trump's post, quote, I am reading reports that failed former Lieutenant Governor of Georgia Jeff Duncan will be testifying before the Fulton County grand jury. Trump wrote on his Truth Social account on Monday, quote, he shouldn't. I barely know him, but he was, right from the beginning of this witch hunt, a nasty disaster for those looking into the election fraud that took place in Georgia. Okay, friends, so that reporting was about Donald Trump's witness intimidation in his state case down in Georgia, but now we're going to connect some dots. And watch how these dots sort of lead Donald Trump to a jail cell, to being ordered into pretrial detention in his federal case. At his arraignment hearing, which I attended in federal court in Washington, D.C., my ears perked up when the magistrate judge told Donald Trump what the most important condition of his pretrial release was. Here is from that transcript. Quote, your most important condition of release, sir, is that you not commit a state, federal, or local crime while on release. If you were to do so, a warrant may be issued for your arrest, your conditions of release may be revoked, and you may be held pending trial in this case. So Donald Trump was put on pretrial release in his federal case, and he was told by the judge the most important guidelines of your pretrial release is that you not commit any crimes, federal, state, or local. And if you do, defendant Trump, you can and very likely will be revoked on your release, and you will be detained pending trial. Ooh. Do you understand? And after Donald Trump was put on notice by the judge of the consequences of violating conditions of his pretrial release, what did he just post? Let's look at it again. I am reading reports that failed former Lieutenant Governor of Georgia Jeff Duncan will be testifying before the Fulton County grand jury. He shouldn't. So what Donald Trump just did there, witness intimidation, when he posted that a witness who was about to testify before the Fulton County, Georgia grand jury.
Witness intimidation. You know, I said something similar about the girl in the Mo3 case when she thought that she could throw the case, or the sister could take her son, who's a witness against his daddy, to a prison to see him. Cannot do that. A witness cannot go and see a suspect in jail or have anything to do with them. No form, because I said it would be trying to intimidate the child's witness, his testimony. Dumb folk. They think everybody's slow like them.
About, among other things, Donald Trump's suspected election crimes. He told that witness not to testify.
That's what he told him.
Named him,
Don't do
a
it.
witness who was about to testify before the Fulton County, Georgia grand
Can't do
jury
that.
about, among other things, Donald Trump's suspected election crimes, he told that witness not to testify.
Absolutely.
He named him. He said he knew he was going into the grand jury, and he said he shouldn't. He should not testify.
Witness intimidation.
You know what that is, friends? That's a little something that the Georgia state law refers to as influencing a witness.
Same thing.
And it's a crime. It's a felony. Punishable by not less than 2 years in prison and not more than 10 years in prison. So Donald Trump.
So when hold on, y'all. I know I'm jumping cases, but when I mentioned that in the Mo 3 case, them slow folk, that's a lot of them are criminals. You know, forgive them. They was like, man, that's his daddy. That's his son. Da. It don't matter. That's an influence. It's intimidating. You cannot put a witness and the suspect. They cannot communicate. I don't care who it is. One is a witness and the other is the suspect that the witness will be testifying against. It don't matter who he is. And these people always breaking the law though. Think how they feel supersedes the law. So that means to me either he done already took a plea and he wanted to speak with his child so that his child wouldn't have to testify against him because he done already took a plea. But if that's not the case, and that boy goes on that witness stand, their ass is in trouble. Because they trying to, that means that the mama, along with the child, is trying to throw the case. So when the other witness who lured Mo 3 to his house and the sisters gave the locate to the Illers, yeah, they trying to throw the case. That's why they let the little boy go see the daddy. I don't know who these people think I am. I am not slow. I see all through that. Now, what did Hillary do, Mojo? Don't make you leave today. This is not about Hillary. Did Hillary name come up? Can you retract that? We're not talking about Hillary. I'm the only one that can change the subject because this is my platform. Did you hit the like button? Did you hit my cash app, Mojo? While you throwing in somebody's name that we not discussing? Go and get out. I prayed before you came up in here today. Go ahead and leave. Thank you. Come back another day. Come back another day. Trying to have sense. Okay, let's go.
Violated the conditions.
I need to remove you for today, Mojo.
In his federal case in Washington, D.C. by committing a Georgia state crime. And here is the beauty. Let's keep connecting.
Did he bring up, did I miss him? Did Glenn bring up Arkansas? Did he bring up Hillary? Did he bring up Hillary? Oh, well, let me back it up. Because if he not talking about Hillary, then why did he bring him up? Did he talk about the case in Arkansas?
Violated the conditions of his pretrial release in his federal case in Washington, D.C. by committing a Georgia state crime. And here is the beauty. Let's keep connecting these dots, friends. The beauty of that is District Attorney Fani Willis down in Fulton County, Georgia. She's in the final throes of presenting evidence to the grand jury, and we are expecting a Georgia State RICO indictment any day now. What she can do is present that evidence to the Georgia State grand jury and ask them to vote out a criminal charge for witness tampering, interfering with a witness. And once he is indicted, assuming the grand jury believes there's enough evidence to indict him for that charge, and trust me, there is. Once he's indicted, do you know what that indictment can and should form the basis of? His revocation on pretrial release in his case in Washington, D.C., and that should result in him being detained pending trial. Listen, this is the integrity of the criminal justice system 101. This has to be done if we are to preserve and promote the integrity of the criminal justice system. When a judge puts a defendant who is on release in not just one, not just two, but three, soon to be four serious felony cases, when he violates the conditions of his release by intimidating a witness, the system, the rule of law must assert itself. It must take that matter seriously if there is to be any respect for the criminal justice system. And let me finish up with a couple of points. Because what will happen if Donald Trump is indicted for witness tampering in Georgia, committing that crime while on release in his federal case in D.C., and that indictment is presented to Judge Tanya Chutkan, who's presiding over his D.C. federal prosecution. Here's the beauty of it. Let's have a look at the federal law when it comes to what happens when somebody violates a condition of their pretrial release. And friends, for this one, we're going to have to go back to the big, ugly blue book of laws, the United States Criminal Code, and we're going to look specifically at Title 18, U.S. Code Section 3148, for those of you scoring at home. And here is what that section provides. Sanctions for violation of a release condition. A person who has been released pending trial and who has violated a condition of his release is subject to a revocation of release, an order of detention, and the prosecution for contempt of court. The judicial officer shall enter an order of revocation and detention if, after a hearing, the judicial officer finds that there is probable cause to believe that the person has committed a federal, state, or local crime while on release. And friends, here's how we're going to button this up. This is my favorite part. You just heard that the federal law provides that if the judge, in this case Judge Tanya Chutkan, concludes that there's probable cause that Trump committed a federal, state, or local crime, he should be revoked on release and detained pending trial. Remember how we talked a few minutes ago about how District Attorney Fani Willis can simply present the evidence that Donald Trump tampered with a witness to the grand jury and have the grand jury return an indictment for that crime? Guess what? A grand jury indictment conclusively establishes probable cause that the crime was committed. So a revocation hearing for Donald Trump could simply look like presenting the grand jury indictment that states Donald Trump committed that crime because the grand jury indictment conclusively demonstrates probable cause. That's the beauty of Donald Trump having committed this crime on release and facing possible indictment, because that indictment can then serve as the basis to revoke him on release in his federal case. Now, there would probably be something of a summary evidentiary hearing, but Donald Trump's post saying that a witness who is about to go into the Georgia grand jury should not testify, coupled with the grand jury indicting him in Georgia for that crime, that gives the judge everything she needs to revoke his release and to order him detained pending trial. And that is precisely what should happen. Because justice matters.
This motherfucker pays only $10 a month for the unlimited internet. Here's how. Have you heard about Ryoko Pro? This is the cutting-edge portable Wi-Fi hotspot.
Justice matters. Get the likes up, y'all. Get the likes up. Oh, not music. I don't want no music. Double tap the face of your screen. Hold on, I'm trying to get to it. Hold on, I'm trying to make sure. Oh, that's way up there. Hold on, skyrocket.
There's two exceptions.
Oh, okay. This is bought with
Hey, all.
Biden.
Glenn Kirshner here.
Movie
So there's
is
an
called
important story
America.
that sort of flew under the radar yesterday with all the hullabaloo surrounding the impeachment hearings. Is hullabaloo still a thing? The story has to do with how President Biden has decided to deal with all of the Trump-installed U.S. attorneys,
I
and it is
thought
such a
they
good
said
story.
Biden
First, let's
wasn't
turn to
here.
some of the headlines. This from NBC News. Biden's Justice Department to ask nearly all Trump-era U.S. attorneys to resign.
Ooh.
Okay, that's a good headline, but what caught my attention
What?
is the
What?
nearly all.
What? Did y'all hear that? Nearly all. What? Did y'all hear that? Now, what is Biden? Wait, what?
Because it's entirely you.
I need my likes up, y'all. They coming up with a whole different type of strategy. Oh, hold on. Hold on. Oh, so now they digging in to the prior presidents. President Obama, now Biden. We hear from Clinton all the time. Get the likes up, y'all. Double tap the face of your phone. Krista, yes, ma'am. Yes, indeed. Double tap the face of your phone. Or leave. It's too late for this. Movie is called American Made. Yeah. Get them, Natural and Nolans. Am I going to have to go out again? Make y'all leave? Am I going to have to force y'all to leave? Make y'all drop? Our America, we once knew would be a horrible nightmare if Trump won a third. And yeah, they trying to sneak that in too. Y'all want me to go back to playing the jazz music in the ocean waves? I try to be nice without having to talk out ugly. Yeah, he's trying to get a third term in there.
Glenn Kirshner here. So there's an important story that sort of flew under the radar yesterday with all the hullabaloo surrounding the impeachment hearings. Is hullabaloo still a thing?
Hullabaloo.
The story has to do with how President
Bullcrap.
Biden has decided to deal with all of the Trump-installed U.S. attorneys, and it is such a good story. First, let's turn to some of the headlines.
Hullabaloo.
This from NBC News. Biden's Justice Department to ask nearly all Trump-era U.S. attorneys to resign. Okay, that's a good headline, but what caught my attention is the nearly all part, because it's entirely usual for an incoming president, an incoming administration, to ask for the resignations of all U.S. attorneys because they serve at the pleasure of the president. They are what we call at-will appointees. So it's not at all unusual for President Biden to ask all U.S. attorneys to submit their resignations. Most administrations, both Republican and Democrat, do that. But the near...
Y'all, did... Now, Trump was supposed to be there the 14th and the 15th. I mean, right? Are they... He leaving? He leaving already? Trump is leaving? Breaking news. President Trump departs Beijing, China following the summit. He left? It didn't go the way he thought it was going to go? Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Say what? This was 32 minutes ago. How long is this? Let me finish this and we gonna end.
All part caught my attention.
Yeah,
So
he
here's
out
how the
there.
Washington Post reported out the same story. Biden administration will ask remaining Trump-appointed U.S. attorneys to step down, with few exceptions. Here's what the Washington Post said about that. The Biden administration is expected to ask remaining U.S. attorneys appointed by President Donald Trump and confirmed by the Senate to begin stepping down. Though the Trump-appointed federal prosecutor investigating Hunter Biden,
Out of there.
President
I'm gonna
Biden's
show
son,
y'all.
as well as the prosecutor reviewing the FBI's 2016 investigation of the Trump campaign, will be allowed to continue their work, a Justice Department official said. Folks, why is this such a good story? I'll talk about that in a minute. First, let me explain the process.
Explain
As I
it.
say, anytime a new president takes over, typically he will ask for the resignations of all of the U.S. attorneys, because those are presidential appointees. Then what happens is people throw their hat in the ring. They literally apply to be U.S. attorney. Some of my friends have applied to be U.S. attorney for the District of Columbia U.S. Attorney's Office. Some of my friends have applied to be U.S. attorney in Virginia at the Eastern District of Virginia U.S. Attorney's Office. They throw their hat in the ring. Let me just add as a footnote, I opted not to throw my hat in the ring for any U.S. attorney position, and I'll talk more about why that is in the future. But after people apply, then they are interviewed. And here's who they're interviewed by. They're interviewed by the senators or the staffers of the senators in the jurisdiction where that U.S. attorney's office is located. This is the norm. This is the tradition. So the senators from Virginia, for example, will interview the people who have applied to be U.S. attorney in Virginia, and then the senators will make recommendations to the White House, to the president, about who they support to be the U.S. attorney in Virginia. That's how the process goes. So here's why this story is such a good story. Because as we heard, President Biden asked for the resignations of, or will ask for the resignations of all the Trump-appointed U.S. attorneys. A good thing, because Trump and Bill Barr were not known for picking the best and the brightest and the most honest and the most ethical and the most law-abiding U.S. attorneys. You know, people who fought to do favors, though, for Roger Stone and Mike Flynn and others. So this is exactly the right move by Joe Biden, asking for all of these resignations, but with two exceptions. And it's the two exceptions that are the inspirational part of this story. Because as you heard from that Washington Post reporting, those two exceptions are, one, John Durham. That's the U.S. attorney who has been investigating the FBI opening an investigation into the Trump campaign, the whole Trump-Russia thing. And think about it. When the FBI started interviewing the Trump campaign, President Obama and Vice President Biden were in place, were in office. So in theory, depending on what U.S. Attorney John Durham finds, it could end up being critical of, among others, Joe Biden and the administration he was part of. And Joe Biden said, I want that work to continue. I'm not going to interfere with it. I'm not going to remove John Durham, that U.S. attorney, and the other U.S. attorney he pledged not to remove is the one in Delaware investigating his son, Hunter. Think about that. The results of that investigation could very well be bad for Hunter Biden if that U.S. attorney finds some wrongdoing. And Joe Biden, our president, said, I will not interfere in those two investigations by removing those U.S. attorneys. I don't even want to see the appearance of interference in those two investigations.
What I say earlier, if he make it out of there, if he... He done went to the country and Big Daddy done beat that ass and now he ready to go home. I'm ready to go home. He ain't gonna budge. I'm ready to go home. Let me hurry up and finish this so we
Those
can
U.S.
hear
attorneys
this.
will be allowed to continue. Can I just tell you that this is the government we want? This is the government we, the people, deserve. Joe Biden making decisions based on what's right and what's fair and what's just and what's honorable, not just what's politically expedient or what is in his self-interest
Trump
or his
said, I
son's
don't care
self-interest.
about you and I won't.
This is inspirational. This is the kind of government that gives me patriotic goosebumps.
I don't know what that Y.
And they're not always easy to raise on me. After 4 years of Bill Barr and Donald Trump making decisions about the Department of Justice and about U.S. attorneys' offices that were in their interest, to protect them, to protect Donald Trump's family.
Yeah, he leaving.
This is beyond refreshing. This is the government.
And now the Democrats look like they're finna go and dig it up.
To have good news stories.
Come play ball. They coming to play ball.
Because justice matters.
Yes, indeed.
And as always, folks, thank you for tuning into these daily videos.
Thank you, Glenn.
I know I've talked about this before, but we're over on Patreon. Team Justice is on Patreon, patreon.com. And we are in the final.
Thank you. Let me get to this last one so I can hop in this tub. Lord, come on, why is it not moving? So I can crash all the way out. Y'all got my likes up? Get my likes up. Why is it saying playlist? Watch later, no history. Slippery gone. Breaking, President Trump departed China at the summit. My.
Okay, so I have a really
now
good
I don't
hack.
need for these commercials to be showing me.
In the summer,
Yeah.
You're gonna want to get these because
Pants
they
and
go to right here.
tights and stuff.
Official vehicles.
He's saying I'm gonna put myself out. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back, no. Hit the road, Jack. Don't you come back no more. What you say? You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the hell up out of here. Y'all better get my likes up. What are we doing? Get the likes up. Gotta say my, bye. He's saying bye.
Official vehicles coming.
Get me up out of here.
Tarmac there.
Get me up out of here.
Await the arrival of the president. It looks like they will be pulling up momentarily now, so
we gotta go.
We'll watch this.
They're gonna try to. I can't stay here not another day.
What has been a pretty extraordinary 2-day summit where we saw I think inarguably the two most powerful leaders in the world, President Xi and President Trump, exchange a lot of very nice words together. We see the silhouette of President Trump sitting in the back of the beast there, and the Secret Service will shortly open the doors for him to walk along that
Trump is
red
saying,
carpet one final time in China. And the Secret Service will shortly open the doors for
he gotta go.
To walk along that.
I don't want nobody in the car with me. I don't want, just get me up out of here. Oh my God, let me yank this wig up off my head. I don't know what I'm gonna do. They trying to prosecute me in the States, and then they saying if I get loud or I say something out of line, they gonna lock my ass up. I'm scared for my life.
And President Trump
Huh?
exchange a lot of very nice words together. We see the silhouette of President Trump sitting in the back of the Beast.
You better
there,
not wave at them
and the
kids.
Secret Service will shortly open the doors for him to walk along that red carpet one final time in China, one final time for this visit. Who knows
I know
whether there
because I
might
was
be
sleeping
another one.
out there, and I'm trying
we know
to
that they
type
are already
into
planning a return trip for President Xi to
Thank
come
you.
to
I'm
Washington
finna shut it down.
in September. I believe that
after this.
President Trump referenced September
Scary
24th
ass.
as a potential
I thought it was a
date for
beautiful
that.
place.
So we will see.
You ain't
Obviously,
doing
a
nothing
lot
in the
can
States.
happen
Stay a
between,
while.
now
Get
and
comfortable.
September 24th, but that appears to be on the books for both men, which to the points that Lisa and Kyron were both making is significant that the conversation continues. Let's just listen now as President Trump prepares to leave Beijing.
Fiber, you ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the hell out of here. Let Broadway play that. You ain't gotta go home, but you gotta get the fuck out of here. These people gonna try to take me out, huh? Woo-wee. You better not look at them kids. Look at it. Over there. What did you do in front of them kids? He ain't acknowledged nothing but them kids over there. Kids.
So President Trump there enjoying the send-off. Those look like some of the
Y'all
same
know
school
18,
children who
17,
welcomed him
18
before,
too old for this one.
waving the flags of China and the
Per
United
the
States.
Epstein files.
Let's bring back Jackie Heinrich, who has obviously been traveling with the president, and Jackie is not about to board Air Force One. She's got to get a good old commercial jet back home. Jackie, your thoughts as we see the president taking the final steps on this two-day summit?
Well, it seems, Jonathan, like he's really taking in the very last moments of this trip where he was showered with a lot of shows of respect, the cultural sites he was brought to, the conversations of significance. This is, you know, a very difficult relationship to manage with a country that his own administration calls the U.S. the greatest geopolitical adversary for the U.S. And watching him be received and sent off with this kind of fanfare is something that he very much appreciates. And I wonder also what President Xi is thinking and what he's going to be discussing with his team as he watches Air Force One take off along with the rest of us. Because on balance, it looks like Trump got what he wanted from China on this trip. It was a relationship
Fox 4
maintenance
quit
trip
line.
in a lot of ways. Walked away with
Fox
some
4
trade
quit
deals,
line.
some more progress, drawing down this massive deficit that he started addressing
Ooh,
in
his
his
ankles
first
hurting.
term. Stability for businesses. You know, the
he
tariff
not
truce
needed.
appears to be extended. He held firm on Taiwan, and he wasn't asking for any help from China with Iran in the first place.
Quit
And I
lying.
wonder what Xi is thinking China got for its part.
Yeah. And
China
as he
got
walks
everything
back in
that
with
they
a final
wanted.
Wave there, walks into Air Force One. A final wave to those seeing him off there at the airport.
And how we know? Because he said he about his business. He said
Jackie, that I
she
wonder
ain't
if he's
about
going
business.
to get in there, sit down, and say, "Okay, Marco. Okay, Pete. That was a great trip. Now, what do we do about Iran?" Do you get the impression that that is going to be right back at the forefront of his mind, if indeed it ever left it?
Well, he did indicate that there may be an imminent return to kinetic action. In his post on Truth Social this morning, saying that military decimation of Iran is to be continued. As you've seen, the regime refused to agree to a deal that would limit their ability to have a nuclear weapon. And that is still a priority for him. His administration also made clear that while it was in China's interest to bring Iran to the negotiating table, the U.S. didn't have any concrete ask of them. They are handling this job quite easily themselves. And I think that they'll be discussing maybe the Iran issue, but also what they've gleaned from the Taiwan issue as well, because you saw
he couldn't say
sort of
nothing to start with the letter
the
T.
pomp and circumstance of the show, the pageantry here, but then also contrast that with the language in the statement that came from Xi Jinping with respect to the Taiwan issue. There's a contrast there in tone for sure.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting to watch now whether this package of aid to Taiwan that has been delayed a little now gets final approval. That will give us a real concrete indicator, Jackie, I guess, of whether the U.S. policy has not changed despite the fairly strong words we've heard from President Xi and other officials during this trip.
Yeah, and the Taiwanese have a domestic problem there too. The administration has been urging them to fulfill the purchases of American armaments that their own parliament had been slow walking because it is ruled by the opposition party to the Taiwanese president. And you had American officials saying that would be a concession to China if you didn't fulfill this this purchase. And that's been on the minds of the U.S. side of this thing. So I think that the president, though, making very clear that Taiwan was not up for negotiation, not even as a piece of leverage to get some help with the Iran issue, left the Chinese feeling frustrated. And you saw...
And they ain't even entertain Eric and Elroy.
Clashes if
they ain't
the
even
Taiwan
entertain
issue is
them.
not managed properly. That is what the readout said. Obviously, they did not get what they wanted from President Trump, and worth crediting him also. There were a lot of Democrats back home in America that were warning that he was going to sell out Taiwan. That did not happen.
Jackie, back to the question of
quit lying
now, which obviously is a huge issue that President Trump still has to deal with. With your conversations at the White House, do you get any sense that there is a split there in some ways, that there are those who are saying we have to go back and finish the job militarily, and those who might be saying, no, let's keep the pressure on in terms of the blockade
away
of the
from
strait.
his good friend.
Let them build up those oil stockpiles.
He can't say his all that. Baby,
let the economy collapse, and then let's see where we go from there. Is there a split in the White House, or is everybody just waiting to see what the president himself wants to do?
He don't know.
No, I've seen everybody reading from the same sheet of music with respect to Iran. They are pretty unequivocal that there has been, they've achieved the military objectives that they laid out at the start of this war, and they're satisfied with that. There are some other issues that the president says, for instance, the nuclear dust. He told Sean Hannity, I'd feel better about it if we could get it out of there. But they really believe that time is on America's side and not on Iran's side. Pretty unequivocal that they're...
Blockade of the strait. Let's let them build up those oil stockpiles until they can't pump any more oil. Let the economy collapse, and then let's see where we go from there. Is there...
So I think that the president, though, making very clear that Taiwan was not up for negotiation, not even as a piece of leverage to get some help with the Iran issue, left the Chinese feeling frustrated. And you saw a warning of potential direct conflict, clashes if the Taiwan issue was not managed properly. That is what the readout said. Obviously, they did not get what they wanted from President Trump, and worth crediting him also. There were a lot of Democrats back home in America that were warning that he was going to sell out Taiwan. That did not happen.
Jackie, back to the question of Iran now, which obviously is a huge issue that President Trump still has to deal with. With your conversations at the White House, do you get any sense that there is a split there in some ways, that there are those who are saying we have to go back and finish the job militarily, and those who might be saying, no, let's keep the pressure on in terms of the blockade of the strait. Let's let them build up those oil stockpiles until they can't pump any more oil. Let the economy collapse, and then let's see where we go from there. Is there a split in the White House, or is everybody just waiting to see what the president himself wants to do?
No, I've seen everybody reading from the same sheet of music with respect to Iran. They are pretty unequivocal that there has been, they've achieved the military objectives that they laid out at the start of this war, and they're satisfied with that. There are some other issues that the president says, for instance,
and all he was doing was trying to flirt with them kids.
I'd feel better about it if we could get it out of there. But they really believe that time is on America's side and not on Iran's side. You heard Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, in an interview yesterday, mentioning that the U.S. believes from satellite images that Kharg Island storage is full. They're not seeing any ships move there. It's a matter of time until they'll have to shut down production. And that will cause permanent damage to Iran's military machine, because you have the illicit oil sales that fund the terror regime out of that state. They believe that time is only on their side. You also have fractured leadership in what is left of the regime, and a supreme leader who hasn't been seen in 2 months, and maybe badly injured or worse. So I think that there is unanimity on the part of the administration in terms of what the landscape is there. They want to see Iran agree to never have a nuclear weapon, of course, and feel that that's been achieved as well for the safety of the world. But I think the only frustration that you see from the president is when his critics say, well, don't you care about the economy? And they very, very clearly see that as Iran using what little leverage it has to manipulate domestic politics in the United States against the president and his policy toward Iran, and what he's trying to achieve with respect to keeping nuclear weapons out of their hands.
Yeah, and that certainly seems to be part of the Iranian game plan here, to try to wait out the U.S., to try to keep that economic pressure on the U.S. by causing chaos in the Strait of Hormuz, in the hope that, and you imagine that they are thinking, okay, the closer and closer we get to those midterm elections in November, the more likely that we are to get a favorable deal from President Trump, because he will be under a great deal of political pressure. But I don't know that this is a president who will cave to that kind of pressure, Jackie. What's your take on how important the looming elections are going to be in terms of what happens next, in the next few weeks, in the next few months?
I'm sure that's part of Iran's calculus. I think that they would be making a mistake to believe that domestic political pressures would drive this president to make a bad deal. I mean, this president took action on Iran that many presidents have not before, despite their repeated warnings that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. The administration points out that they had enough enriched uranium to build 11 nuclear bombs, and someone had to do something about it. And the president was not deterred by what that would look like, what that would do to the markets, and felt that this was action that he had a responsibility to take. I do think that there might be an impact on Republicans in Congress who are up for election. They might be in tougher races than they were before. It could have an impact where those Democrats who are, sort of hitting the economy line have something to hold on to, where their party does not have a message, a coherent message that they've been able to land on since the last election, which we saw an autopsy of a very, failed campaign, that did not produce any sort of here's what we need to do differently, and they're hoping that they can just get by in this next election by capitalizing on people's unhappiness with their economic and financial situations. So there might be a greater impact on Republicans in Congress than the president, I think.
Yeah. Jackie, as we watch Air Force One begin to roll down the tarmac there, I know you've got a flight to catch, so if we can we see Jackie before we say goodbye to Jackie? It's been such a pleasure hosting these couple of hours with you, Jackie, and you've done such extraordinary work all week
make sure
in Beijing. I don't want to delay you.
Yeah, because it was one that I had already pulled up, and I need to see what Hakeem, no, not Hakeem, Corey, gotta say before I go. We're absolutely ending on Corey.
This is what would happen to your body if you ate mood sleep gummies every day. Day 1, you take your first gummy.
Leading off our discussion tonight is Democratic Senator Cory Booker of the great state of New Jersey.
Can I get y'all to hit the like button? I don't know why y'all in love with the like button and y'all don't want to hit it. I ain't gonna steal it. It ain't gonna cost you a thing. Just tap the like button. What's wrong with you people? I'm bringing you good tea. What we doing? What we doing? Don't be slow all your life. Hey, Corey, what you got to say before we go? What we got to say? What you got to say? In your likeness. Shout out to Cory Booker. Let's go.
Leading off our discussion tonight is Democratic Senator Cory Booker of the great state of New Jersey. He's a member of the Senate Foreign Relations and Judiciary Committees. Senator Booker, thank you for coming in studio.
It's great to be with you, John, tonight. Thank you so much.
All right, so we
They
have
might
to
have
get
to check him out.
two big things to come out of Laura Barón Lopez's report live from Beijing. One, your reaction to President Trump's social media post where he blames President Biden for
his
the
failures
situation with China. What do you make of that?
I mean, China has been enjoying all the blunders, mistakes, and disastrous foreign policy of this president. This president has mired us in a war in the Middle East yet again.
Let's go.
The Straits of Hormuz is closed. We're depleting military equipment. He is seeing us make disastrous relationships with our allies. And China, what's China getting a chance to do? Well, first of all, they're getting tons of money to Iran through their oil sales still, and they're getting more strength internationally in their region of the world. The second thing that's really important is on trade. China's cleaning Donald Trump's clock. Trump said that he would beat China in a trade war. Well, what's happened is American markets, especially for our farmers, for soybeans and commodity products, have shrunk, and China has seized these opportunities because of Donald Trump's chaotic tariff regime. And so what we have here is a president who's just been a flat-out disaster, who goes over there not in a position of strength, but in a position of weakness. And on the world stage right now, he is an embarrassment, and I hear it not only in our country, but
and his ass got demoted. He gonna come back over here lying and playing tough, but he got demoted globally, so everybody know. He put his ass to shame. Put your head down. Yeah, put one foot in front of the other and get your ass out. Just walk your ass on up out of here. Yeah, put your head down now. Yeah, you're disgrace. Yeah, and I shamed you. I shunned you in front of everybody. You couldn't even say the letter T. Let alone Twan. Yeah. Nope. Sure could not. Tijuana, T1, Lebanon, Tebanon, TBA. You couldn't say shit. But China's a beautiful place. You got whooped with the, what is it? The green switch off of the rubber tree. That's what you did. You got your ass whooped. Let's go.
China has seized these opportunities because of Donald Trump's chaotic tariff regime. And so what we have here is a president who's just been a flat-out disaster, who goes over there not in a position of strength, but in a position of weakness.
Weak ass.
And on the world stage right now, he is an embarrassment. And I hear it not only in our country, but I hear it from other countries' leaders as well.
The second thing that Laura talked about, she showed in her report a clip of the president's interview with Sean Hannity of Fox News, where he crows about China making a commitment, it sounded like, to buy 200 jets from Boeing. Does that count as a foreign policy win for the President of the United States?
It absolutely does not. I mean, if that's the extent of his wins, a guy who said that we would get tired of winning, that is absolutely ridiculous. This man is losing. How do we know his presidency is a sinking ship? It's because of what's the experience the American people are. Ask them if they feel like they're winning when interest rates are up. Ask them if they think they're winning when gas prices are reaching record highs. Ask them if they think they're winning when they're struggling so much under the lies of a president who said they'd keep them out of foreign wars and lower their prices. President Trump has not delivered for the American people. He's created a disaster in the Middle East, and he's weakened us vis-a-vis China in trade, in strategic alignment and strength, and as well in, frankly, in just the grandeur of the United States being diminished.
So, Senator, as you know, you were sitting here as I did the intro, the Iran War Powers vote failed in the House again today after failing in the Senate for the 7th time yesterday. But Republican support appears to be growing. Do you see more Republicans coming over?
I do. Lisa Murkowski now came over and joined us when we put up a War Powers resolution in the United States Senate. They cannot deal with what they're experiencing at home. What they're experiencing at home across the political spectrum is that they're defending an unpopular war that is causing them serious economic pain at home and is going disastrously abroad. They cannot defend this anymore, and it's going to get more and more uncomfortable. We need to keep the pressure on. It's why I'm leading with a group of senators to force votes over and over and again. You're going to own these failures unless you start standing up to President Donald Trump and do what you're supposed to be doing, providing a check and a balance to your overstepping of his constitutional power.
Well, speaking of a check, but a different kind of check, listen to what Senator Tim Kaine of Virginia said today.
Yes.
We're being asked to fund a $1.5 trillion budget, but our request to the DOJ to see the OLC opinion justifying this war, they have refused to allow members of the Armed Services Committee to see it. U.S. senators, appropriators, we're not allowed to see it. If they will not allow us to see the legal rationale for the war, what are they hiding?
And a lot of heart at home.
To
He
that
ain't
point,
shit in China.
Senator Booker, what precedent does it set if a president can launch wars and then deny senators
Ain't none in
access to
China.
the legal rationale, the legal
He couldn't even say
justification
his own
behind that war?
Yeah, I mean, this is the fundamental insanity of what we're allowing this president to do. War powers clearly
running back
lie
home
with the
away
Article
from
One
the
branch
good
of
friend.
Congress.
Yes,
He has
shit.
launched a war.
Did he
cost
say
us
bye?
tens of billions
We
of
didn't see him
taxpayer
hugging
dollars.
goodbye.
Made the situation worse. The regime's more radical. The highly enriched uranium is still there. Straits of Hormuz is closed. He's made things worse. And that Congress, controlled by Republicans, is holding virtually no oversight hearings, open oversight hearings, holding him to very little accountability and doing very little check and balancing. This is not how our system was supposed to work, and the enabling, complicit Republicans that are allowing
was gonna
that
take
are
over.
not upholding their oath right now. As American
God said
soldiers
no.
are in harm's way right now, who swore an oath to defend our Constitution, are putting forward perhaps some of the greatest sacrifices. At home, comfortable Congress people aren't doing their job to defend the Constitution. They're allowing the President of the United States to trash it, and it's unacceptable.
Let me get you on one more thing before we go to a break. ABC News is reporting that Donald Trump is expected to drop his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS in exchange for a $1.7 billion weaponization fund for allies. What's your reaction to that?
Drop his lawsuit.
Or an oath to defend our Constitution, are putting forward perhaps some of the greatest sacrifices. At home,
He dropping his
comfortable
own
Congress
lawsuit?
people aren't doing their job to defend the Constitution.
trying to sue the IRS.
Trash it, and it's unacceptable.
Let me
The
get you on
judge
one more
said
thing
no.
before we go to a break. ABC News is reporting that Donald Trump is expected to drop his $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS in exchange for a $1.7 billion weaponization fund for allies. What's your reaction to that?
Fool.
The American people are watching them struggle as he grifts off his office, as he finds all these ways to profit off of corrupt regimes, as his sons run around in tow with him from the Middle East to China, doing side deals all of the time. He's got a ballroom he's spending $1 billion on, and at home they're saying, what gives? My gas prices are up, my food is up, inflation is up, what gives? How much is this Republican Congress going to let this man prove to be the worst president,
to bring
causing
back
so
home?
much injury without doing anything about it? This settlement is corrupt, unjust.
Wouldn't let them sons go
Congress people with backbones
and recruit with that tricky ass, sneaky ass, what is it called? A pyramid scam.
He's spending $1 billion on.
Okay, y'all, I'm finna go to sleep. I think that's all I had. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope that y'all enjoyed the tea. I hope that it was good and hot. It sure was good and hot to me. Now, as you exit, if you did not hit the like button coming in, please tap the like button going out. Like it, share it, and become a tea sipper. You know, join the Tea Palace. And if you would like to support the platform, please hit my Cash App, $AUNTEAFEE. I would greatly appreciate it. I would greatly appreciate it. I done gave my whole night to y'all. Check it out. Y'all have a good one. Sleep tight. Don't let the bad bugs bite. Peace. Mwah.